Coming to you from deep in the flyover states, we review WWF Ground Zero in your house. This is the Golden Age of Grappling podcast. And welcome to the show. This is the Golden Age of Grappling podcast. I'm DP.
And I'm Tony G.
This is episode 40. The big 4-0. We're over the hill.
I mean, are we?
I don't think so. I think this show is just now hitting its stride, but
I don't feel a day over 37.
No, we're like we're the male side of the sexual spectrum. We're just hitting our stride at 40.
True.
It's just getting better looking the longer we go. So here we go.
That's right.
This is a wrestling review show. Each and every week, Tony and I get together. We review whatever we agreed to watch the week before. It's like the Oprah's Book Club for wrestling nerds. If you're looking for information about our show, links to Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, iTunes, or Stitcher, visit goldenagepodcast.com. And if you want to express yourself further, you can always send us an email, goldenagegrappling@gmail.com. So that's all the information you need to know as far as that goes.
That's all you ever need to know.
Oh, if you are listening on Stitcher, it'd be awesome if you added us to your list of favorites. Apparently they're using that to determine where they rank people as far as like how you show up in searches and stuff now. So Stitcher, favorite us, iTunes, give us a 5-star review. That would be wonderful. Those have slowed down recently, so it would be awesome to get a few more of those to help boost us up there. Otherwise, thanks for listening to the show, and let's talk about current wrestling before we go back to 1997, where we review Ground Zero later on.
Ah, yes.
So
the wonderful and wacky world of professional wrestling.
Oh yeah. We've got a lot that's happened since our last episode, man. SummerSlam's happened. The NXT takeovers happened.
Yeah.
Half of what happened at SummerSlam has been reversed or doesn't matter anymore already.
Right. Yeah. In case you didn't know, Randy Orton's head got busted open by Brock Lesnar.
Yes. Just
in a
disgusting pool of blood, man. Just gross looking stuff.
Not good. And I don't know, it's probably not a popular opinion, but am I the only person that's fucking like over Brock Lesnar? I mean, at this point, there's just what are you going to do with him? He comes in and he beats your best guys and then he's gone for 6 months. Yeah. And he comes back and he beats your best guy and he's gone for at this point it's like there's nothing there. Like, okay, he's the conqueror. Congratulations. No one beats you. Like it's, but it's not interesting anymore. You know?
No, you're
especially
right.
Especially when the matches are so lopsided as well. You know?
Yeah, and I think you said it's not a popular opinion, but I do think it's a growing opinion because after that match with Dean, there was a bit of a backlash, and especially after Dean made those comments on Stone Cold's podcast saying he doesn't really want to do anything in there.
Right.
And then, of course, the USADA test that he failed, that doesn't help. I feel like you're right. I feel like it's growing. There's a growing disinterest in Brock Lesnar just as okay, we've seen it before. What are you going to do differently? And maybe that's what they were trying to do with this SummerSlam ending.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what do you... Like, it's just funny because there was another podcast I listened to and they've got this running joke that Randy Orton loves being off. Like, he's enjoyed this time off this past year, and they were making jokes that he had probably asked Brock Lesnar to injure him so he could go back on break. It's just funny that then this happens.
Right.
It's just like, good Lord.
Maybe not to that extent. So, yeah, that happened. Whatever. Brock Lesnar, I've said my piece. John Cena and AJ Styles had an amazing match.
Yeah. I love that match.
Great, clean finish in the middle of the ring for AJ Styles. The new face that runs the place, as he was calling himself on SmackDown.
Oh, yeah. And John Cena leaving his armband in the ring afterwards. I don't know what that means.
AJ Styles had it with him on SmackDown, though.
Oh, did he?
That was pretty funny.
That's
he tried to put it
awesome.
around his... He, walked into the locker room like they had a cold open, and he's in the locker room talking to some of the faces, and Dolph Ziggler's, crying in the chair. And AJ comes in, he's like, hey, I'm the face that runs the place. And he's like... And I got that armband that John Cena left the ring, and he tried to put it around his head, and it didn't really go on that well. And then he said something to Dolph Ziggler, and Dolph Ziggler just stood up and started punching him.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
I need to watch. I need to watch SmackDown this week. I haven't got a chance to watch the 2 weekly shows. I've stopped at the pay-per-views, but so that sounds like a good start at least.
Yeah. Fun watch. if you didn't watch the weekly shows, I'm about to spoil something major for you.
Go ahead.
But I don't know if you know this, but Bayley is now a member of the Raw roster.
Yes.
She lost a great match at TakeOver to Asuka, in another absolute classic women's match in Brooklyn.
Oh yeah,
seems to happen there often. And she popped up on Raw. Mick Foley, of course, I'm sure as excited as he's ever been, got to be the guy that announced her. And she's come out and she's challenging Charlotte. Like, she's going right after the title.
Like,
go ahead.
I get that they want to try to push her that way she comes off as a star right away. But it's like, can we stop giving women the title shot immediately when they show up?
Well, I was just gonna say, I think this has a lot to do with Sasha and her injury.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that. Because you're right. I mean, that's kind of the best part of Bayley's character is that she's the underdog that has to work really hard to. So, but I'm sure that this wasn't necessarily Plan A. But I think this may be kind of just the card that was dealt them. And I mean, hell, she's hot as she's red hot. You might as well give her a title shot. No, and I'm excited to see her on the main roster. Again, I thought she probably should have gone to SmackDown since they only have like 5 women, but six. Okay. Oh, sorry, 6 women on the roster. Oh, well, we got Nikki Bella. Yeah, they added Nikki Bella this week. I only say that because on SmackDown, Shane and Daniel Bryan brought all the tag teams out and all the women out, and they introduced the new championships. Oh yes, the blue titles. Oh, I like them. I'm not even talking shit. I mean, they're just really blue. Yeah. They look fine though. They're fine looking titles. Okay. So I haven't had a chance to see the tag title yet. The women's title is the same as the other women's title. It's just blue, right? Yeah, and the tag title is the same like penny faceplate, but it's not. But it's on a blue strap. Okay, so they kept the worst part of the tag titles. Right. For some reason, it doesn't seem as bad on the blue strap, though. Okay. I mean, that's not too bad, then. And they announced that there's going to be a tournament to determine who will fight at Backlash to be the first ever tag champions. And they announced that there will be a 6-pack match consisting of all 6 women in the women's division on SmackDown to determine the first ever SmackDown women's champion. So, all right. I'm fine with that. Yeah, and the Heath Slater free agency saga continued as he was given an ultimatum that if he could find a tag team partner by the end of the night, then he would have a chance to be in the tag team tournament. Oh, and nice. If he wins the tournament, he gets a contract on SmackDown. Man, they're really making him jump through hoops when they've got guys that aren't nearly as like. Obviously, if he does any of these things that they set him up to do, he would be way better than half their roster already. Right. Do you know who his tag team partner is? If it's not Samoa Joe, I'm a little upset. But yeah, go ahead. It's the Man Beast Rhino. Oh, okay, that's not too bad. I like that. So yeah, that's what Heathy baby has going on. All right. So yeah. Lots of things, interesting things. What do you got? Talk about NXT TakeOver, because while the main roster's happening, this show I thought stole the weekend. I liked NXT TakeOver probably 5 times more than SummerSlam. Yeah. Like, it just felt like such a great all-together show. All the entrances, they did like special entrances for everybody. Yeah. Everybody had something. Yeah, no, you're right. I really enjoyed TakeOver. It was a great show. I thought the title matches on SummerSlam were, Dean and Dolph was a very bad. I didn't think it was a good match at all, to be honest with you. I don't know how apparently I missed it at some point, because I started SummerSlam and I watched the first half of it, and then I turned off my Xbox. Right. And then when I went to restart SummerSlam, I was apparently after that match, because I just never saw. I don't know where I missed the match at, but I missed the match at some point. You didn't miss much. And one last thing, real quick on the main thing, just Seth Rollins and Finn Balor had a great match. Yes, I like that one. Fortunately, sadly, Finn Balor is injured, tore his shoulder. Yeah. He won the Universal Championship. He relinquished it on Raw. They whittled things down. There's going to be a fatal four-way match Monday on Raw between Kevin Owens, Big Cass, Kevin Owens, Big Cass, Roman Reigns, and it's not Rollins, is it? Would it be Rollins? Oh yeah, and Seth Rollins. Okay. Duh. So yeah, the fatal 4-way match.
All right.
But that's what happened. So anyway, yeah, like you said, Takeover. Awesome show.
Awesome show. Great entrances by all the people involved. I loved Bobby Roode's entrance. I thought it was amazing getting to watch a reaction like that from a crowd that big to Bobby Roode.
Right. Would you call it glorious?
Oh, of course I would call it glorious. That was fantastic. I mean, he's supposed to be a heel, so who knows how that'll work out, but I love what's going on so far with him. I also really, really, really liked the Nakamura entrance, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I told you, he should just bring that guy with him all the time.
Yeah, he should. That would be amazing. Oh. Otherwise, yeah, I thought it was a great show. Finn Balor moving up is good. I thought Joe versus Nakamura was a really good match. I kind of expected to see Joe since he lost, but who knows, maybe he's going to stay down there a little bit longer. Yeah,
what did you think of Joe getting his jaw broken?
I mean, that was great. I thought it was really cool looking. I mean, has it come out? I thought I'd heard that it was just a work.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure I saw a video of them like pushing it back in place.
Oh, really? Okay, I don't know.
That's what it looked like, unless it's all fake. I don't know.
Say, like, the night of, they had announced, like, somebody had, I don't know if it was Meltzer or somebody, it was just like, it was a work and he was just selling. And I was like, that was really, really impressive selling if that's the case, but...
I hope that's the case, because I'd rather him not have a broken jaw, so that's good.
Yes, exactly. So that's what's been going on in wrestling. Anything else you wanted to talk about?
There is nothing I want to talk about.
All right, let's go back to 1997. I've got 4 things to take you back to 1997.
Whoa, yeah.
4.
The 4 Things Time Capsule. All right, so number 1, first I got a question for you, Tony. Were you a big MTV watcher in 1997?
In 1997, maybe not. That might be a little early. Why? What is your question, sir?
Well, on the 4th of August of 1997, the 14th MTV Video Music Awards took place. It was actually referenced during this show, but Beck won 5 awards that year for both Devil's Haircut, and then the one that really won a lot of awards was his video for The New Pollution, which I had never even heard of or seen. I've heard of Devil's Haircut, but I'd never seen The New Pollution, so I looked it up, and I was just like, all right, yeah, it's cool, but compared to the other videos that I saw that were nominated, I don't really think it should have won over those.
Yeah, Beck was he was the hot new thing that year.
Oh, yeah, so that's what happened on the first thing that happened. On number 2, on the 6th, the funeral took place for Princess Diana of Wales. And the world wept and then went nuts. And I'll talk about that a little bit more here in a second. But number 3, on the 16th, Apple Computer Incorporated named co-founder Steve Jobs as temporary CEO. Of course, that would then become continuing, but
yeah, that didn't go so well.
He had actually just returned to the company earlier that year after being gone for 12 years. Because he left in 1985 or 86 and then came back right in 97 and ended up getting the CEO job, and obviously we know where that went after that. Yeah. And finally, number 4, topping the Billboard Music Hot 100 charts the night of tonight's show, was a song called Mo Money, Mo Problems by Notorious B.I.G. Of course, this was the second single from his album Life After Death, which was released posthumously. I don't know how to really pronounce that word.
Posthumously, I believe, is how it's pronounced.
Exactly, that's perfect. Apparently, it topped the Hot 100 charts for 2 weeks, but was replaced by Mariah Carey's Honey, which took over for the next 3 weeks. And then here's the interesting thing: after that, Elton John's Candle in the Wind was the top song for the rest of the year.
Yeah. Dude, that song was fucking everywhere. Like, everyone talks about and remembers the Titanic song.
Yeah.
But, man, Candle in the Wind by Elton John was My Heart Will Go On before My Heart Will Go On. Like,
oh, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I remember that, man. 'Cause my mom listened to a lot of contemporary pop, whatever you want to call it, top 40 kind of shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I just thought it was interesting because, you have Puff Daddy, who actually this song, so Mo Money, Mo Problems replaced I'll Be Missing You from the chart, which was another song about Notorious B.I.G. So we have lots of dead people songs in the year of 1997 topping the charts.
It's It's unfortunate.
I guess so. It was just a weird year for music. So tonight's show took place on September 7th of 1997 in front of an audience of 4,963 fans in the Louisville Gardens in Louisville, Kentucky. This building, not really involved in anything anymore. Apparently, from their wiki, it looks like nobody's really using it. It was the first 3-hour in-your-house show, and it was presented at the new upgraded $29.95 price tag, which played in a little bit to the buys, because the buys for tonight's show did not do too hot. Because the two shows before this, Tony, were 209,000 and 285,000 buys for SummerSlam, and the two shows following this one did 215,000 and then 320,000 for the Survivor Series.
Oh, wow.
So, surrounded by those great buy numbers, tonight's show, with the Patriot taking on Bret Hart for the championship, did 161,000 buys.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the in-your-houses, especially at this point, were, not the top shows. They weren't the big draw pay-per-views. So, I mean, I'm not too surprised that they would have numbers like that.
Well, no, exactly. Like, I'm not surprised that it was a dip from the 285 of SummerSlam and 320 of Survivor Series, but those other two numbers I read, the 209, 215, those are both in your houses as well.
Yeah.
It's just kind of interesting. So,
yeah.
What going into tonight's show, what did you know about this show before we decided to review it? Was this the one that you had remembered specifically?
This is pretty early in my WWF watching, as far as watching the Raw on a semi-regular basis.
Yeah.
And, seeing some of the pay-per-views on VHS month after they happened or whatever. Mm-hmm. But because I can remember the heel Bret Hart and the Hart Foundation and this kind of stuff, this stuff going on. So yeah, I'm somewhat familiar with a lot of the happenings at this point, in the company.
Okay, so one of those things that I've noticed watching this show and a few of the shows around this time, just from my knowledge of Bret Hart before I started doing this show, it seemed like he's very down on his time as a heel. He didn't like it apparently, and it's amazing that he didn't like it because he's fucking good at it. I really liked Bret Hart in this role. Yeah,
no, I mean he's great at it, but you can just tell, like you said, you can see it. I mean, he doesn't have the heart for it though, it's just it's not who he is. It's not what he feels comfortable doing. But you're right. He's damn good at it. But it's, he's fucking Bret Hart. He's, be great at anything.
Yeah, he's the best there was. So,
Ever will be.
I just think it's funny. Also, I noticed this while we were watching this show, or not watching this show, but watching SummerSlam when they did the WWE Then Now Forever. It's just hilarious that the WWF took Bret Hart's slogan and turned it into their own. And now they just use it all the time.
Pretty much, yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Then, now, and
far
forever.
Off there. Yeah.
All right, so the show starts tonight with the old bragging about the company promo that WWE has loved to do for years now. Just talking about how many how many countries they're broadcast in and languages and all that stuff. And then we see Shawn Michaels and how he hit the champion, Bret Hart, with the chair. Or no, he hit the champion, Undertaker, with the chair, giving the belt to Bret. And that's the lead-in for tonight's main event.
Yep. Yeah, big bad happenings right there. And you can kind of feel it coming on at this point. This is considered very early Attitude Era. This is kind of because Survivor Series '97 is the screw job.
Yes.
We're months away from that, so it's all about to start fucking happening. And a lot of people call that SummerSlam with the Shawn hitting Taker with the chair. That kind of being the kickoff to the whole thing, you might say.
Interesting.
Obviously, there's a lot of people can make arguments for other times and other shows, but it's just that's somewhat widely accepted as fact. But there's arguments to be had.
Oh yeah. So they've swapped the title order, but still have the old America's Funniest Videos stage setting.
Dude, I love the house, man. It's so awesome. It's in your house.
It's in your house, which the stage is in the front yard of your house.
It just makes sense,
No, it does. I do love that stage. But yeah, like we said tonight, it is the first time they've swapped it to where it's not in your house, ground zero. It's ground zero in your house.
Right. They're phasing it out.
Yes. So Vince McMahon welcomes us to the show with JR and
everyone.
yeah, his usual screaming entrance. So he welcomes us. He's got JR and Jerry Lawler with him. They've got the three-man beast working already. They hype tonight's show, talking about all the matches, and then Vince says that first up...
Ladies and gentlemen, Goldust against Marlena in this ring.
First up tonight, Goldust against Marlena.
Well, to some degree, there is a mental battle going on in Goldust's head that involves Marlena and the consequences of this matchup.
That's true. That's very true, yeah. So yeah, tonight we've got all these various matches taking place. Undertaker's first showdown with Shawn Michaels, and of course the Patriot taking on Bret Hart for the championship.
Yeah. And Vince also mentions we've got light heavyweights and minis.
Both of these are in the same rank of my opinion. Right. I don't care about either of them.
And then Mr. McMahon tosses to the indecent proposal match promo video.
Oh yeah, this is a good video. This is a good hype video. I was really excited for this match after watching this video.
I mean, if there's not any more of like example of this being early Attitude Era, like things getting going. I mean, this is got Attitude Era written all over it, man. This feud's this is pretty disgusting to some level, actually.
That's very true. So Brian Pillman revealed that he is the father of Marlena's child.
Right. Dakota is Brian Pillman's daughter.
Saying that it's my love child. It was so good.
Jesus, man. Dustin says in an interview that it's no longer about sport. They show footage from him and Marlena sit down with Jim Ross, just various clips of him talking about he loves his wife and that's never going to stop.
Yeah, he said it's a fight for his family.
Right. Yeah. Obviously, the consequent, the daughter will be separated from her mother for 30 days if he loses to Brian Pillman.
I don't see why she has to stop being a mother for this 30 days.
Because according to their innuendos, she's going to be in a hotel for 30 days, tied to a bed, getting banged by Brian Pillman. Is the only idea that they try to drill into your head throughout this entire night.
That's true. You'd think that being that he's the father, he would want the kid to come along, but obviously not for that portion of the night. But still,
Brian Pillman is shown in a dress of Marlena's. In case you were wondering, DP, that's because Goldust beat him at the previous pay-per-view, and that was the consequence for Pillman.
Yeah,
talk about upping the stakes a little bit. How you have to wear a dress for 30 days. Yeah, well, if I win, I'm gonna bang your wife for 30 days.
Yeah, that's true. I think it was actually he had to wear a dress until he won or something because he was losing matches or whatever. But anyways, Pillman, in order to get this match, he told Goldust if he gives him one more match, that if he loses, he'll leave the WWF forever. And of course, if Pillman wins, he gets Marlena for 30 days.
That's right. The innocence of a marriage lost is at stake.
I was going to ask you, what did you think of Michael Cole's Nightline journalist reading?
Well, it's just funny that this is kind of his role at this, he's kind of the serious journalist of the backstage area. I don't know. I didn't hate it. I kind of liked the presentation of it all, having a serious tone because it's a serious subject. Like, this is really no laughing matter,
No, you're right. And
I liked it.
And spoilers, we get 5 different backstage interview people this week. But anyways, yeah. So we go to match number 1 now for the Marlena on a pole match, Goldust versus Brian Pillman.
Yes. If only she was on a pole. That'd been something else. Of course, you could expect Goldust goes right after Brian Pillman outside of the ring. Right after him. Pillman, though, comes back with chops to Goldust inside the ring.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting. The referee was just like, all right, we'll start the match, and just rings the bell while they're outside the ring.
Right, and that's not consistent at all with things that happen later tonight. But anyway,
no, not at all.
Goldust hits an inverted atomic drop, followed by a clothesline on the loose cannon. Goldust then with the old 10 punch on Brian Pillman. Vince then around this point tells us that Pillman and Terry did have a relationship, and JR confirms it.
Yeah, and McMahon starts talking about some reporter in Louisville. I was like, what is he even talking about? And King's like, of course he knows about Marlena. Everyone knows she's a slut. I'm like, why does this reporter have anything to do with anything?
I'm saving my angry comments on the King for the next 500 times he says something inappropriate.
Yes.
But I just love to have Vince brought that up. He's like, no, Terry did have a relationship with Brett. And he's like, Ross, you spent some time with him back in years ago. Can you confirm that? He's like, yes, Vince, I can confirm that relationship. And that's pretty much...
JR's like, yes, we were all in WCW a couple of years ago. That's the truth.
Right.
Oh, so Pillman is chasing. He hits a back elbow and then chases Marlena around the outside of the ring. Goldust gets out, intercepts him, and drops him face first on the steel steps. And that's when JR again reminds us that if Pillman wins, he gets Marlena for 30 days. And King says that he says she's the good time that's been had by all.
Yes, the proverbial good time had by all. Not long before that, too, he also mentioned that he was surprised that Vince didn't know that Marlena was a slut. He says, she has been in more laps than a napkin.
Oh, God. Now I'm just picturing the fact that the King uses used napkins in his lap.
Right. And then the King, because he doesn't want to have to consider anything he's saying, gets flustered when the child is brought up and says, who cares about their kids? And Vince McMahon just goes, jeez.
It's interesting because Vince McMahon's reactions to the King for all of his comments tonight are pretty much exactly my reaction every time. I'm just like, just stop.
Well, fun fact, this is literally, I think, the pay-per-view before Vince is done commentating. Like, his days as a commentator this is like the second to last show he does.
Oh, yeah, because he's not at the commentary booth for Survivor Series, is he?
Nope. No, he does bad.
Right.
He does, I think, Bad Blood or something like that is the next pay-per-view, and that's the first Hell in a Cell match, I believe, and that's his last night doing commentary full time.
Oh, okay.
So he's on his way out, and you can tell that he is fucking got too much going on backstage. Like, that's really what it is, man. I mean, like, you could just see it. Like, his interactions, and I mean, I won't get into it too much, but like, his interactions with Sean and Brett in eye contact from ring to table.
Yeah.
Dude, he fucking hates everything that is going on right now. And he is so sick of both those crybabies, man.
Oh, yeah. It is. Anyway, you're right. They do kind of have that later on. So Pillman's in control with punches in the corner. Goldust then carries Pillman to the ropes and just racks him on the top rope. Pillman goes to walk up the ramp. He's done.
Yep.
Get
out of here.
But Goldust chases him down and suplexes Brian Pillman on the steel ramp.
Oh, man. Back in the ring, though, Goldust with the old wishbone on Brian Pillman on the steel ring post. Ring postitis, I believe, as the club
the new
calls
term,
it.
yes.
Yes. Goldust then begins going after the knee of Brian Pillman. JR brings up Pillman's history with knee problems, serious car crash, football career, things of that nature.
Oh, yeah.
Goldust then attempts to bulldog Brian Pillman, but Pillman just gives the old toss-off, and Goldust goes flying onto the mat.
Oh, yeah.
The loose cannon then hits a back body drop onto Goldust as the crowd has a pretty strong Pillman sucks chant going. I mean, he is a perfect heel.
Oh, yeah.
One of the biggest tragedies in the history of professional wrestling is, the loss of Brian Pillman, because you want to talk about a guy that would have been the face of the Attitude Era.
He would have been all over the place at this point.
He would have been Vince Russo's favorite wrestler. Like, I'm convinced that.
Yeah, I could see that. Oh, so yeah, he chokes Goldust, and then Pillman whips Goldust into the corner, and JR mentions how this match is more important to Goldust than any before. And King doubts this could possibly be bigger than any Intercontinental title match. He's like, all he'd have to do is play Mr. Mom for 30 days.
It's like, yes, but it's what's happening, King, is the problem here. Like,
exactly. And then we get this little interaction between JR and King that sets the table for their interactions about this whole ordeal for the rest of the night.
How do you think that's going to do? Changing diapers and warming bottles and all that kind of stuff. I think you do just fine. I'm not worried so much about him being a good father. He is. I'm worried about that young lady. What will Brian Pillman do for 30 days and 30 nights with her? That's what I'm concerned about. You want me to tell you?
God damn it, King. With that laugh as soon as he says 30 days and 30 nights with her.
Like, the King is about as filthy as he's ever been on this topic tonight. Like, it is just some of the most tasteless King that I think I've ever heard in the history of his commentating career.
Oh, he was ready for the Attitude Era a good year in advance.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So Pillman, go ahead.
Goldust gets to his feet and drops Pillman with an electric chair drop to break the rear chin lock Pillman had on for a good time. Goldust then reversed a whip to the corner, but Pillman hit him with a back elbow as Goldust rushed him in the corner. Brian Pillman climbed up top, but Goldust shook the ropes and Pillman racked himself again. Goldie then threw Pillman from the top rope all the way to the floor. And then Goldust and his wife Marlena double-teamed Brian Pillman a little bit outside of the ring with some kicks and such.
Oh, yeah. She slaps him right in the face.
Right in the face. Dust then put Pillman back on the top rope and attempted a suplex, but the loose cannon dropped him face first down to the mat.
Oh, yes. And when they were outside, as they were double-teaming Pillman, the King very rightly says they should be DQ'd. And Vince says, well, the ref's being very liberal with the rules tonight.
Yeah, a sentence that will come out of Vince McMahon's mouth about 12 times tonight. Because, yeah, the ref at times is just like, no. Like, it's fine. Like, there's so many going. I think there are liberties given in damn near every match tonight. When Pretty Vince much. Just has to be like, oh, well, the ref's just giving a little leniency in there.
Oh, yeah. So, Pillman, so Goldust goes for the suplex. Pillman knocks him down. Goldust dodges the drop kick, sets up for the curtain call. But when he grabs Pillman, his hand grazes the ref, and the ref goes down.
Refs were made out of paper on this show tonight.
Well, some of the other ref bumps are at least acceptable. This one's ridiculous. He barely hits him. I guess they went with the idea that his finger went in his eye or something. So we get no count during the pin attempt. Pillman is then back up. Marlena, though, gets on the apron. She tries to hit Pillman with the gold purse, but Pillman blocks and just takes it away from her. Pillman then hits Goldust with the purse and gets the pin. Winner, the loose cannon, Brian Pillman.
Yeah. And around this point, I just said that King is seriously creeping me out with his excitement for Pillman raping Marlena for 30 days.
Get her, Brian! Get her! Oh, yeah! Don't say nothing. She's all yours, Brian! She's all yours, Brian! Enjoy it! All yours, Brian! Enjoy yourself! You're sick, Lawler!
JR's indignancy at this is amazing. He's just like, are you kidding me? She's all yours, Brian!
Yeah, oh man, he's so pissed.
Oh, so Pillman leads her by the arm to the back. She's fighting him most of the way. It's very awkward and, like you said, creepy with the way that King is cheering it on.
Right, exactly. Like, I feel like the whole thing wouldn't feel as icky if the entire announce team could agree to not condone it. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
But when there's a middle-aged, creepy old man who's had allegations in his past cheering for it, you're like, oh, God, King.
Oh, God. So Goldust chases after them, and Jerry Lawler walks over and picks up that purse that was just sitting there, and he's like, I want to see what this is all about. He opens it up, and there's a brick inside, so he reveals that it was loaded. Right,
and then the great debate begins. Well, she was trying to cheat, so is it really so bad that Pillman used it?
she tried to hit him with a brick, so she should be raped for 30 days. That's totally fine.
Well, yeah, that's the logic. Anyway, cut to the back as we see Brian Pillman forcing Marlena into a car and speeding away. Well, kind of speeding away. He waited for Goldust to actually catch up and slap the trunk before he drove off.
Oh, yeah.
And King laughs about what Brian Pillman will do to Marlena in the front seat.
Yes.
And Vince says, there's nothing funny about this, King.
Oh, King says that Brian Pillman, he's a magician. He's turned his car into a motel before.
Yeah. Vince asks how perverted the King could be. We then cut Goldust is shown destroying his locker room. As he kicks the camera crew out, he's very angry.
Oh, I thought it was a really impressive performance by Goldust there. Like he's like stuff. Half crying and throwing shit all over the place. Yeah. Good stuff. So we go to match number 2.
Well, before we get there, we get a quick, just a little video is shown of Jerry the King Lawler and Brian Christopher beating up Scott Putski. And I think it was on Shotgun Saturday Night. They may have done the Spike Piledriver or something. Anyway, we come out. King is then denying being the father of Brian Christopher, which was a running gag or gimmick, whatever you want to call it, for basically Christopher's entire career in the WWE.
Yeah, which it's funny because like they make reference to it, how like, well, just look at his body. He's right. But it's like, he's a fucking like clone of Jerry Lawler.
Yeah, oh yeah. So match number 2. This is our light heavyweight match, folks. That's right. Everyone's favorite high flyers. Scott, don't call me Ivan Putski, taking on too sexy Brian Christopher.
Oh yeah. So
215 pounds was the limit at this time.
Yes, and there's no way that Scott Putski was under that.
Dude,
Or Brian Christopher.
Scott Putski looks ridiculous.
Yes. He's jacked.
He is so jacked. And it's, like you said, he doesn't look like a light heavyweight at all. I remember watching this guy as a loser on Global Wrestling or whatever, the Dallas stuff, the GWF, and he was terrible down there, and they billed him as a light heavyweight also. But yeah, he's not good at all. I was like, boy, I really had higher hopes for the light heavyweight match.
Oh yeah. So during the entrance of Brian Christopher, the King is like, take a close up of me and him. We look nothing alike, and they do it, and of course they look identical. King says that the difference is I'm handsome.
Right.
There's
Jerry's Kid chant rings out from the crowd.
I really do enjoy that chant. That's an awesome chant. That's great.
It's even funnier later when it happens again in a different match. But anyway, Scott Putski comes at Brian Christopher with shots in the corner.
Oh, wait, hold on real quick.
What?
Is there something in JR's past about trying to have children? Because the King says, well, you wouldn't know anything about having kids. And Vince just puts his foot down and stops the discussion before JR can even respond. He's just like, we're done talking about this.
I couldn't tell you that, honestly. I'm not sure what his situation is.
I just wasn't sure if there was some sort of story backstage that you happen to know about. I was confused, so go ahead.
No, Putski with shots in the corner to Brian Christopher. He then hits a hip toss and teases a punch to Brian's face, but instead drop kicks him right out of the ring. Christopher now back in with a side headlock, but Putski escapes and hits an arm drag, but Brian Christopher blocks a hip toss attempt and hits a clothesline to put Putski down.
Oh, yes. So Putski then counters a top rope leap by Brian Christopher with a punch to the gut, and then hits a Hurricane Rana for a 2 count. Brian then dodges the clothesline.
Just like that Rey Mysterio on Nitro. Just like him.
Oh, yeah. Brian then dodges the clothesline and hits the stroke. And King says, come on, Vince, get excited. And JR says, that's my boy. And King is furious at him saying that. Vince confuses the two men when he's talking about who's doing what. Christopher then hits a German suplex and throws Scott Putski to the floor.
Yeah, not cool, man. Brian Christopher jumps out onto him, and Putski looks like he is hurt at this point.
Yes.
Because he is.
This match is done.
Yeah, this match is over. Brian Christopher jumped over the top rope and hurt Scott Putski. Ref calls the match, gives the win to Christopher. King goes into the ring and celebrates with Brian. King then insulted Putski's knee injury.
Yeah. Yeah, King was it seemed like he was about to go on and on about, he was just ready to just make fun of this guy and stuff. And then he sees the injury and he cuts it short. He just he's like, all right, I'll make fun of him, but I'm not going to go too far.
Well, because it was also a bad dive outside, in my opinion, and I think that was Christopher's fault that he got hurt.
Oh, really? I didn't pay that close attention at it. I just saw that the knee afterwards does look really fucked up. I was like, in my notes, I was like, that might just be what his knee looks like, though, because he's jacked and has got more muscle on his frame than he's supposed to. But it looks like it's really fucked up, and apparently, yes, it was.
And Vince doesn't seem entertained by any of this. He's pretty upset, and they go to the table. But I like that he says, are they still working on Ivan Putski's son?
Yeah, JR says that his patella has been dislocated. And then we see the replay of the dive, and Brian Christopher cuts a Goldberg promo and yells, "Who's next?" at the camera.
Right. Hey, why not, right?
I mean, at this point, Goldberg's not around yet, is he? This is pre-Who's Next, isn't it?
I don't know. Fall of '97, man. I think we've got some Goldberg going on.
Okay. I just thought it was just a coincidence. Maybe he had stolen the gimmick before he even got to it. Right. So yeah, we see the refs. They put him on a stretcher. But they don't raise the stretcher up, so they all awkwardly lean way down and roll Putski to the back. It takes a long time.
It was awkward and not good at all, and I'm sure Vince's head was just on fire.
Yes, and then we go to a hype video for a race war.
Yes, the Great Faction War of 1997, when the Nation of Domination split into 3.
Oh yeah.
Video shows the random fights that took place between the Los Boricuas, the Disciples of Apocalypse, and, of course, the Nation of Domination, led by their respected members, Savio Vega, Crush, and Farouk.
Yes, and just this little bit that I've seen, I've decided DOA's boring and Los Boricuas is kind of boring as well. The Nation of Domination is the only team that I have any interest going into this match with.
Right. Well, that's pretty much the feelings from everyone, so that's why none of them stuck long. Anyway, a young Rock stands silently behind Farouk as he tells us that he's going to beat up Savio and Crush.
By any means necessary.
Yeah, more fight video is shown. Savio says some stuff in Spanish, tells us that he will win. Finally, we go to the real personality of the group. That's right. Mr. Promo, Crush, tells us this is not a triple threat match. This is a double promise from me to you. I'm going to beat both your asses and drive a motorcycle up there as well.
Yes. Yeah, in my notes at this point, I didn't know who Crush was, so I was like, all right, so Savio is representing the Latino guys, and then some white guy promises to run his bike up Savio's ass. That's what I have in my notes here. I was like, I don't know who this guy is.
Crush has actually been around for a while. I'm not sure if you've come across him yet, though. He became the third member of Demolition when Axe was getting too old.
Oh, okay.
He was around in the mid-'90s, was like a lame Hawaiian character, like Kona Crush. I don't know. We'll come across him again. You'll be like,
sure
it's that biker guy.
So that takes us to match number 3 in a triple threat match representing Los Boricuas, Savio Vega taking on representing the Nation of Domination Farouk versus representing the Disciples of Apocalypse, Crush.
That's right. And the leaders.
And apparently this is the first triple threat match in WWE history, because the announcers talk all about these strange and crazy rules of this triple threat match.
Dude, I thought about it, though, and I'm like, you know what? This might be the first ever triple threat match in the history of the WWF.
I mean, if it's not, it's got to be one of the first few.
Yeah, definitely.
Because everyone's acting like this is so confusing, and like, I'll spoiler, I guess. I read a little bit of the Wrestling Observer after this, and even Meltzer's like, I don't understand what all these crazy rules are all about. Because he talks about this one and then the Fatal 4 tag match that we'll talk about later. He's like, these rules are all over the place.
It was kind of a new thing, and I don't know, I think ECW takes credit for the three-way dance, if I remember correctly.
That's true, yeah, I think you're right. So they, the beginning of this match, they just all three start brawling. Savio and Farouk begin stomping on Crush. They work together a bit with punches and stomps. Then Crush finally counters and hits a double clothesline. He goes after Farouk, but gets rolled up by Vega. And Farouk breaks up the pin, and that starts the entire story of this whole match for the rest of the night.
Yes.
One guy tries to pin, the other guy will break it up.
And one thing that was very clear early on, the crowd cares about none of these men.
Not at all.
Because there's not necessarily a face out, like, they kind of like Crush, but I mean, he's the cool guy that has a motorcycle. Like, it's almost an unfair advantage.
Yeah.
Everybody likes the guy that has the motorcycle, but otherwise, I mean, it's like, none of these factions are necessarily liked by the fans. They're all kind of heels.
That makes sense. I hadn't thought about that. You're right. Because, the audience just doesn't care about this match, really.
No. Farouk whips Crush and Savio with a belt. Because that was kind of a Farouk thing.
Oh, okay.
Crush takes it from him and then beats Farouk with it. Then around this point, and what will be a reoccurring problem throughout the night, King making jokes about Marlena and Brian Pillman. King laughs about Dustin crying in the locker room and wonders if Pillman has found a Holiday Inn yet.
Yes, that's going to continue. So
until Vince cuts it off, and it's kind of funny when he does.
Oh yeah, we've got the audio of that one. So
okay.
Now both men get 2 counts on Vega, with each man breaking it up. The announcers continuing to be slightly confused by what is going on in this match and what the rules are.
It's not that fucking complicated, people.
That's the thing that frustrated me. I was like, once you understand that it's all 3 men and it's no disqualification, it's pretty simple after that. Farouk hits a big spine buster on Vega for a 2 count after sending Crush outside, but now Vega hits a face buster, and here comes Crush to break up the pin.
Yeah. Real funny thing about Savio Vega, he was kind of one of those guys when I first started watching that I was just like, man, I like Savio Vega. Like, he was like, I had this fucking VHS tape I bought at a Big Lots or something that was like some tournament they had in Kuwait in 1996 or 97. And I just remember him being on that. I think he may have fought Stone Cold Steve Austin or something. Like,
Okay.
But I just remember having this impression of Savio Vega. I was like, I like that guy. And then he joined the Nation of Domination, and it was all kind of downhill from there.
Okay.
He was like the closest thing they had to a semi-high flyer, I guess you could say. He did a spinning heel kick. He was like about as high flying as D'Lo Brown, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that's true. So Crush stomps on Vega and chokes him in the ropes. He then power slams Farouk, but this time Vega breaks up the pin.
And then just they fucking go to the all three men on their knees exchanging punches as if these guys have been fucking fighting for 15 or 20 minutes and it's been an epic battle.
Let's say we're 3 minutes into this match, and yeah, they're going to this 3 men on their knees, and the crowd does not give a shit.
Get up, all of you, right now.
The crowd doesn't even pop for the double noggin knocker when Crush, the one possible semi-face in this match, hits both men with the double noggin knocker, and they don't even act like it happened. Just no reaction. It's ridiculous. JR points out that there's been a lot of near falls in tonight's match, and which is kind of the problem with this triple threat. It feels like suddenly every man is super vulnerable to a pin because the near falls started a minute 30 into the match.
Yeah. Like I said, they're still figuring this whole thing out. And they're like, we've never done this before. Savio hit a super kick on Crush. Vega then hits big chops to Farouk in the corner. Farouk boots a charging Savio Vega right in the face. Crush then chokes Farouk across the second rope. Not nice at all. Savio attempts a standing splash, but Farouk got his knees up.
Oh, did you hear Vince trying to do the old JR style, let's put over our company without talking about the other company?
Oh,
Vince goes, this is rugged. This is the WWF. It just felt very much like JR with his NWA style.
That is totally. Oh, jeez. Farouk then with a snapmare on Savio Vega and gets a near fall out of that because, like you said, these guys just start pinning each other after everything.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I've lost place here, but at one point,
go ahead.
At one point, Crush applies a headlock. So Crush throws Farouk outside. This time, Vega kicks out at 2, and then Crush applies a headlock, and JR starts going off. This is awful strategy. He's like, the other man's outside of the ring. You got to pin him.
Yeah. And that's like, I guess that kind of makes sense. Yeah, no, you're right in line. Yeah, he complains about him not going for a pin when the third man is outside the ring. Farouk then comes off the top rope and hits Crush in the back with a diving headbutt, which is kind of brutal.
Yeah. He goes for a cover, but Vega's back up and breaks up the pin. Vince recaps the rules one more time, and Crush lifts Farouk's on his shoulder and hits the electric chair drop on Farouk. Vega then covers him, but Farouk kicks out.
The crowd still does not care.
So, real quick, Crush hits the electric chair drop, then allows Vega to just try for the pin. He's just laying there and slowly getting up. It's really weird. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why would Farouk need to kick out of this? You're 2 feet away.
Right. I don't know. It was not good. Crush stops a 10 punch in the corner from Savio Vega and hits the inverted atomic drop and then a big punch for a near fall. Savio and Farouk go opposite ways when Savio went for a swinging neck breaker. Yeah, it was ugly.
The worst way that you could botch a neck breaker is exactly how it happened.
Yeah.
2 guys going opposite directions.
Yeah, not good. Not good.
And then he went for a pin, and Crush broke it up. Let's just pretend like it worked.
Yep.
And at this point, King has reached the end of getting reactions for his Merlina and Pillman comments from the other announcers. This clip I'm about to play is unedited. Normally I'd cut out the bland, middle, boring ground, but I wanted to leave it in just so you can hear how tired JR seems to be of this already. Here, take a listen.
Until the third man is out of the ring, this will go on all night. What are you talking about, Pillman and Marlena?
All right, come on now. Savio Vega on the receiving end of most of the punishment.
Get in your report, I was wrong. They're not at a Holiday Inn, they've gone to a Marriott. Pillman's got the urge to splurge.
I think we've heard enough of this.
He's trying so hard. He's like, I heard they went to a Marriott instead of a Holiday Inn, and they just are like, we don't give a shit, King. What do you got to say next?
Yeah. Not gonna fucking play your game anymore.
Oh, but I did love Vince's. I think we've heard enough of that.
I like to, around this time, Farouk's choking Savio Vega, and Crush is literally just walking around the ring. Like, he's doing nothing. He's just walking around the ring.
I don't care if he gets a submission pin or a submission win.
Right. Crush, though, gets back into action, hits a backbreaker on Savio, but Farouk breaks up the count. Vince, I remember he mentions at some point, like, this is going to go all night with these rules. You know, like, how's anyone going to get a pinfall?
Yeah, that's kind of the problem here, Vince. So, at this point, Farouk calmly breaks up that pin that you had mentioned and suggests that he and Crush work together. So they double suplex Vega, and then both men attempt to cover because they've agreed we're both going to win. But the ref says, nope, that's against the rules. And then they begin arguing over who gets the pin.
Right, yeah, that's not how this works, guys.
I did like this was like the one part of the match that I did like. So they agreed, they tried the pin, that doesn't work. Crush then says, okay, fine. He tosses Vega to the floor so that these two can handle it between the two of them. But the problem is, Vega gets up in 2 seconds off the ground and is back in to break up the next pin attempt. It's like, just let him kick out of the next one. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, Vega would not stop breaking up pinfall attempts in this match. Like, that's what he pretty much did in the last few minutes.
Crush ignores them. Like, it's not I don't give a shit who wins, but Vega breaks up everyone.
Yes.
Oh, and now it's just turned comedic because Farouk dumps Vega again and hits a scoop slam and some sort of thing and goes for a cover. And again, Vega's up in 2 seconds and back in the ring and breaks it up.
Crush and Savio hit an ugly spike pile driver on Farouk.
Yes.
Those never look like they're going to go well.
The thing is, I have here, I was like, since they were, not trying to murder Farouk, Vince felt the need to make sure to mention, they didn't get much of it. But Farouk is selling it like it's a big, big hit. His leg is twitching.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, don't be a dick about it. And then of course, as you'd expect, Crush throws Savio out of the ring. Crush with the heart punch on the leader of the Nation of Domination, Farouk. But Savio runs back in, hits the spinning heel kick onto Crush, and wins the match.
Wow. All right. The crowd boos, and that's the end of that match, and no one really gives a shit either direction.
They don't really talk. They don't really say anything about it. They just kind of move on.
And we go to a promo for the new "'Cause Stone Cold Said So" VHS tape, which I would love to watch because it looks like it's just Stone Cold cussing as much as he can and completely in character.
Yeah. I love it. This is the kind of stuff you'd see these promos and you're just like, oh my God, that's the coolest guy on earth. Like, you've never seen anything like it before. And it's amazing to me how much people love him at this point, Yeah,
already.
And it's just funny. It's like, man, it takes them a little, I guess not that much longer. He gets it at Mania, but still, it's like, man, he was on fire already.
Oh, now we see the outside of the building at Muhammad Ali Boulevard and the outside of the Louisville Gardens, which looks really unimpressive when you show the outside of it, because it's just a little theater.
Yeah. Jim Ross mentions that the U.S. boxing team is in the crowd, and they get a shot of him, and they gave these kids terrible seats.
Yeah, they're way up there.
Yeah, not cool at all.
Oh, and now we go to the second light heavyweight match of the night, match number 4.
Yes, match number 4. It's our mini match, and I don't mean time length, folks, as it's El Torito taking on everyone's 83-pound wrestler, Max Mini.
Oh, yeah, they announced El Torito is weighing in at 101 pounds, and like you said, 83 pounds for Max Mini.
That's probably being generous with that 101 for El Torito.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched this, folks, he is a rather large little person.
Yeah, he's quite a rotund for being a little guy. JR explains the name El Torito, saying that it means little bull and not a corn chip king.
Yeah. King actually says he's the biggest little guy I've ever seen.
Yeah, because King suggests that the name should, instead of be Little Bull, it should be Lotta Bull, because he's a big guy.
And I have noted here, too, the crowd is more interested in Max Mini than they were in any of those 3 guys in that triple threat match.
Oh, for sure.
They love Max Mini.
Yeah, he's great. Torito, he spins Max Mini around and flips and all kinds of little bits happening. He hits a head scissors
the routine
takedown and then counters with another head scissors. Then Max Mini dives to the outside onto El Torito, and the crowd is losing their shit for these spots.
Right. Vince is like, it's our Rey Mysterio right there, folks. Torito, though, hits a big boot to the back of Max's head back inside the ring. King says Torito eats his weight in cocktail weenies.
Yeah, the other announcers are like, yeah.
Yeah, Vince is not impressed, and JR asks him where he heard that. And King tells him that Carlos Cabrera told him that.
Oh,
who, of course, is one of the Spanish announcers.
King also made sure to mention that if you give them a thimble full of tequila, they turn into wild men. Veiled 90s racism.
Oh, God.
El Torito scoop slams Max, but misses a senton. Then Max applies a wrist lock, which is a long wrist lock. El Torito counters and bites Max on the butt.
Yes. Because that happens quite a bit.
Yeah, there's a lot of biting in this. JR asks King to see if he's bruised. He says, why don't you get up there and check and see if he's bruised? And King says that it's shades of Mike Tyson, which gets a laugh out of Vince.
Yeah, Vince. He's a sucker for the topical stuff. Torito missed a splash in the corner, and Max went back to that dreaded wrist lock, with all his leverage and strength. Torito, though, escapes once again with another bite to the man's rear end. And Max has had enough at this point. He's mad at the official and kicks the ref right in the shin. Max then proceeds to bite the referee's tuchus, who I believe was Jack Doan, if I'm right.
Yeah, it is.
And gets chased around the ring by that ref. And the comment, this is top shit. I love this shit. Max runs out of the ring, jumps into the lap of Jerry the King Lawler, and puts the King's crown on in an absolute awesome fucking moment.
Yeah.
And King pulls back like he's gonna punch the guy in the face, and Vince grabs his arm and won't let him.
Oh yeah, because King even says he's gonna hit him, and Vince is like, no, you're not. You're not gonna hit him.
No. And then around this time, the crowd begins chanting Jerry's kid once again as Max Minnie's sitting in his lap.
Oh, I love that. And so JR makes fun of King, saying, oh, come on, King, pretend it's the baby Brian. It's Brian at Christmas time.
Right. And it's like, yeah, all right, JR, I'm sick of King's Marlena Pillman jokes, but your attempts to, get the King mad about Brian Christopher is also getting a little bit old at this point.
Yeah, he's trying a little hard. Oh, so Max finally gets back in the ring and gets a huge boot for his trouble from El Torito. King cheers on Torito and requests the brick. Torito requests the brick from King, but Vince won't let him give it to him. JR is so mad at King making small jokes at this point that he just makes a bunch of himself. He's like, oh, go ahead, King. What is it? He's going to win with a small package, short arm scissor. Come on, King. What? And it's like, King hasn't said any of these. What are you talking about?
JR is very angry at times in his commentary at this point. He's very mad.
Oh, yeah. So at this point, Torito is taunting Max. He hits a headbutt. He's taking his time, though. He's in no hurry to pin Max. Max fights back and hits a Hurricane Rana for a quick 2 count.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Torito then hits a power bomb onto Max Mini. Then that only gets a 2 count, which surprised me because it was pretty brutal. I did not know if he was going to get out of that.
I thought that could have easily been the end of the match. I think it was King says that he's going to give Max one of his socks to use as a sleeping bag. That was the one small joke I really liked.
Right. It's like, all right, damn it, King. Max hits a standing sunset flip to pick up a near fall on El Torito. Torito, though, comes back, hits a big clothesline on Max.
Oh, hold on real quick. It's funny that you said that could have been the end of the match because my next note after the sunset flip is, why is this match still happening?
I know.
It could have been over.
Yeah, a lot of it was all pretty much unnecessary at this point. Max hits a what?
Real quick, during this little section here, Vince seems to be suggesting that the horns on El Torito's head are real and sharp. Because he says that the only way Max can win is if El Torito gets his horns stuck in the ring while trying to gore him.
Yeah, that was pretty lame.
Fucking Vince, you can watch him flopping around. What are you talking about?
Yeah. So anyway, Max hits a shoulder block followed by a series of arm drags. Torito rolls outside. Max Mini hits a big dive to the outside of the ring. Max then comes off the top rope and hits a Hurricanrana on Torito.
Real quick.
What? What? With your real quick. Jesus Christ. Just do the rest of it.
Oh, okay. Well, real quick, before the ending, this happens, the King and Vince get into a little bit of confusion here.
you say boring?
No, I said gore him. I'll gore him. That's boring.
All right, it is.
just a lot of weird silence between these two guys. But I thought it was just funny. He's King with his fantastic accent there. Gore him.
Right.
Did you say boring? Don't say boring. This is our product. You can't say that. Oh, so yeah. So Max Mini hits that. Where were you at? Go ahead.
No, you finished out this match. Go ahead. I tried to finish this match 5 times.
Oh, so Max Mini hits a springboard moonsault to the floor. Torito is up feet first though, and up to his feet first and in the ring after that move. Max dodges a charge into the corner, climbs up top, hits the diving Hurricane Rana, then a head scissors on Torito, but Torito does not care. He gets right back up and grabs Mini Max by the neck. He then whips him off the ropes. Max Mini hits a sunset flip and pins him. Winner, Max Mini, in the same spot we saw 5 minutes ago in this match.
Yeah, the exact same spot.
Oh, and I was just like, yeah, why not use any of the cool moves to end it? Instead, we'll just end it with a fucking sunset flip.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, I thought it was a pretty entertaining match, though, overall.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
So far in this show, I really like the Goldust and Marlena stuff, but that second match really just killed my enthusiasm. This right. Kind of got me back.
It was a downer. So yeah, we now go to footage.
Real quick,
Stone Cold.
Again, don't go that far yet.
Real quick.
God
damn it. Why?
Because the King makes the most ridiculous, long, fucking around the corner joke he could possibly make, and Vince even calls him out on it, so I had to play this for you.
I happen to know that El Torito, had he won this big match, he was going to take all the money he won tonight and go back to his homeland, and he was going to buy a big hotel there, and he was going to refurbish it with all little miniature furniture and stuff for little mini people like that, and he was going to let people go there free. They're going to be called Stay Free Mini Pads. But now he lost. He can't do that.
All of that just to get in the mini pads? All right, let's go back and take another look.
All of that just to get to mini pads, King? Come on. Oh, whatever. Now we go on.
No, what? Go ahead.
So we go to about the tag match tonight with Austin and Dude Love. The announcers are explaining that Austin will not be able to compete because we watch Owen just fucking pile drive Austin legit straight on top of his head, which messed up his neck. And we see that Commissioner Slaughter says that Austin has demanded to return right away against the doctor's orders, but that he has more guts than brains, and he has actually suspended Austin and must now forfeit his half of the tag team championships.
Yes. So Slaughter is in the ring with Jim Ross to get back that Austin's half of the tag belts, along with Dude Loves. Commish says they will do as they're told, and that's an order. Dude Love is out to the ring first to give up his half of the tag team championships. Dude says there's no joy in Dudeville. He would try and defend them by himself, but he doesn't think that's fair. So he gives the belt up peacefully.
Oh yeah, when he's giving it up, the crowd boos him for
Right.
it. I did like on his entrance, King asks Vince, why does anyone like this Dude Love guy? And Vince is like, I fucking don't know. He's like, I have no clue.
Yeah, Vince has no idea. The building then explodes when Stone Cold Steve Austin's music hits. He flips Dude and JR off and poses on the turnbuckles. Austin then goes face to face with the former WWF champion Sergeant Slaughter.
Oh, yes.
He proceeds to tell JR to shut up and for Vince to knock that stupid look off his face. He tells them to stop running the pictures of his neck being broken.
I thought that was funny. You've showed that replay enough times. People have seen it enough.
Yeah, exactly. No more. He drops his belt on the ground and tells Slaughter to bend over and pick it up before he kicks his ass.
Yeah. So he's taunting Slaughter, telling him, why don't you go ahead and pick it up. He tells JR, you make me sick. And then he tells JR, say something if you want, fat ass. And I love this because he's a complete asshole to JR, but JR, still a fan. He's just like, Stone Cold, I really love you. We want you to be safe. We can't risk your health.
Right.
And Stone Cold says, fuck you, and just stuns the fuck out of JR. And I thought JR took this so well comparatively to all the other people that would take the stunner in the coming years.
Yeah, no, not too bad at all. Vince is obviously enraged by this. The Dudester holds Steve Austin back in the corner as officials check on JR. Austin flips Slaughter off as he orders Mick and Austin to the back. And then JR needs the board, but you know where that is? You know why they can't find it? Because they wasted it on Scott Putski a few matches back. And so JR has to walk out of this building. After getting stunned by Stone Cold Steve Austin, Jim Ross walks out because some boner forgot to bring back the fucking stretcher from Scott Putski.
He's sitting here throwing a fit about Vega not selling when he goes to the outside, and here's JR just walking to the back. So there's lots of Slaughter sucks chants, and a third contingent adds in Dick after they say it. Which, yeah, that's funny. And we go backstage to Doc Hendricks, who's with the Hart Foundation, and he asks Owen about what just happened, and Owen is just awesome here, so I'm just going to play it if that's cool with you.
It's a load of crap what Stone Cold Steve Austin did to Jim Ross, a color commentator, a man of his caliber. Jim Ross is a very special friend of mine. We broke bread together. He doesn't deserve that crap, but these stupid American people seem to condone it. They encourage it. They want to see him beating up helpless commentators. Well, that's a load of crap, and I personally am going to be lobbying to see Stone Cold Steve Austin not only fined, not only suspended, but he should be jailed. That is assault. He should be taken to jail, put behind bars. Not only should they have stripped him of the tag team belts, they should strip him of the Intercontinental belt, give it back to me where it belongs, and Stone Cold Steve Austin, you should be getting the hell out of the World Wrestling Federation. That's what you should do, and that is the bottom line, son.
I fucking love this promo.
Yeah. No, Owen Hart's the best, man. That was really, really good stuff there. So, it's funny. Yeah.
In true fashion, it's a perfect heel promo because he's fucking right on every topic except for the whole and give me the title back.
Yeah. Yeah, because it is interesting that they let that Austin keeps the Intercontinental title a little bit longer.
Yeah, you're right. That is strange. So after that, he continues on for a short period because then he's like, oh, and the match that we're about to have, we're going to win. And apparently, I don't know why they took the crowd out beforehand, but they pot the crowd up in the middle of this, and they're all chanting bullshit. So I don't know what was happening in the ring when this was going on. But then they give the mic to Davey Boy, and he just says that he's behind Owen 100%. It's nothing exciting.
He ruins everything. Just be honest, all right? No one,
yeah, it's not good.
It's well known that the Davey Boy Smith's not the best with the microphone. We go back to ringside, and Vince called Steve a jackass for what he did to JR.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He says that he's being protected against himself, and he's just indignant with the way that Austin has acted tonight. And Lawler warns Vince not to talk shit because look what he did to JR already.
It's a good point.
And a nice little vision of the future. So we go to match number 5. In a fatal 4-way, before they knew what fatal 4-way meant, tag team title match, the Headbangers, Mosh and Thrasher, taking on Phineas and Henry Godwin, everyone's favorite hog farmers, and the Hart Foundation of Owen and British Bulldog, and then the LOD, the Legion of Doom, Road Warrior Animal, and Road Warrior Hawk.
Yeah, so, not bad stuff. All the tag teams get to say a little something as they're coming out. The Headbangers promo, they brag about partying after the MTV Video Music Awards with Marilyn Manson.
Okay.
Because that's how cool they are.
Nice. Which is, okay, that makes sense, yeah. Because I was confused why all of a sudden King brought up Marilyn Manson later on, but that makes sense why he did that. Because I just have, Headbangers have a promo, it's not very good. And the Godwins, on their way out, they said that Stone Cold was smart to bow out, and these other guys will be sorry that they crossed the Mason-Dixon line.
That's right. We now go back to Michael Cole with the Legion of Doom. He asks if after 6 years, if they're ready to be the champs.
Oh, yes.
They just yell about shoving a bucket up the Godwins' butts. And
so Animal does his usual screaming thing, and he says that he's going to stick the bucket up their butts. Then he throws to Hawk, who reverses the whole thing and says he's going to stick their butts in the bucket. And here's a bit of that.
Stick that bucket in the ring. I'm going to stick it where the sun don't shine. Tell him, Hawk. Well, Godwins, I got a little story for you. You bring that bucket near us, I'm gonna take your swiney big butts, stick them both in a bucket, and make it a lifetime latrine. Water rush. And make it a lifetime latrine.
What does that mean?
I don't know. That's why he usually always stops after what a rush, because that's when he should stop.
Make it a lifetime latrine.
It's just like so gross. It's like, so basically the bucket is going to go up the Godwin's butt. Then they're going to take the buckets out of the Godwin's butts, and they're going to put the Godwin's butts in the buckets that were just in their butts. So
it's very Jay and Silent Bob. So
right.
Great promo from the LOD. I did like. There's an awesome shot of right after he says "make it a lifetime latrine." They zoom out and you see Michael Cole, and he looks so confused. He's just like shocked. Right. He's like, I don't know what he just said.
Right. Oh yeah. So anyway. Fatal 4-way rules are explained with a graphic, much like the triple threat match was earlier.
Yes.
All 4 teams will be on the outside. You can tag anyone in. We all understand this idea now. They didn't so much back then.
Yeah, except for this one is also an elimination tag team match. Technically not a fatal 4-way, but whatever.
No, you're right. More of a 4-way dance, but yeah, you're right. We'll give him a pass. So the action starts off hot with Thrasher of the Headbangers and Henry O. Godwin starting off. Henry drops Thrasher with a shoulder block. Not bad action, actually, with these two at the beginning here. Thrasher ducked a clothesline attempt and rolled Henry up with a schoolboy. Thrasher tagged Phineas in, and Vince loses his mind about him having to come in. Like, he's so excited by the, oh, man, partner versus partner. And it's like, why? Like, there's no reason, like, why one of them couldn't just be like, oh, well, I'm going to tag out now. Like,
yeah, which is what happens.
Right. It's not like, no, you have to wait 30 seconds before you can tag out, so I guess you guys better fight a little bit.
Yeah, there's no reason for them to fight at all, and yeah, you're right, Vince it's just weird. At some point early in there, Vince asks Lawler if we can please not hear any more about Marlena and Pillman, and of course that doesn't happen.
No. So to avoid the Godwin versus Godwin action, Henry tags Mosh in.
I've just realized I have Phineas and Henry backwards on every one of my notes. So
oh, no.
Go ahead and correct me every time I mess this up.
Henry's the handsome one. All right, DP, that's all you have to remember.
Okay.
No, that's what it was explained to him when he had to wear a mask in WCW when he went by the name of Shanghai Pierce.
Okay.
And Dusty Rhodes told him it was because he was too handsome to be taken seriously as a heel. You're just too good looking, Mark Canterbury. So, yeah, that's why he had to wear a mask in WCW. Anyway, Mosh comes in. Mosh and Phineas both spit into the air and catch it, as they're, neither one can be outdone by the other.
Yeah, and Phineas runs it into his hair. It's gross. They both just kind of stand there and look at each other after this for a few seconds. Yeah. And at this point, Lawler mentions the outfit that Marilyn Manson wore on the MTV Video Awards, and Vince loses his mind like it was the funniest joke he's ever heard.
Right. we know what's going on in the real world. Pop culture, everyone. Yes. We love it.
And if you were confused, it's I looked it up. It's the year that he wore a corset and a jockstrap with nothing on the backside. So,
yeah, classic Manson, that old trickster back then.
So the Headbangers work together. One of them leaps from the top rope to knock down Phineas or Henry, one of the two farmers, and then the farmer tags in Road Warrior Animal. Animal hits an elbow drop, and Godwin powders to ringside.
Godwin's duck out of the ring. Eventually Henry tags in. Animal tosses Henry to the mat, and then Hawk nails him on the outside of the ring. To the mat outside. Yeah, Animal tosses Henry to the mat. Hawk nailed him on the outside. Henry back inside, tags in Mosh. Animal hits a power slam on Mosh. Hawk tags in. Hawk hits a second rope clothesline on Mosh, followed by a gorilla press slam. Hawk then tags in the British Bulldog. Phineas also tags in around this time. Bulldog with the old arm twist and tags in Owen. Just a lot of tagging here.
Yeah. Not much really happening in between.
No.
Most of my notes are about guys on the outside. I was watching Owen pretty much the entire time, because when Road Warrior Animal was in, anytime he had his back to Owen looked like he was going to sneak into the ring and hit him. And he just never did. And then at some point, Owen starts doing a chicken walk back and forth. I was like, that's more entertaining than what's happening inside the ring. So Davey Boy and Godwin, they stand around for a little bit and then begin a test of strength. And like you said, Owen then tags back in, and Godwin throws Owen into the corner and tags in the other Godwin, Phineas or Henry, one of the two. Military press slams Owen and gets a 2 count. And then Owen hits the enziguri, which none of the announcers know what to say about it, and gets a 2 count, and then tags in Animal.
Yeah. Yeah, Animal tags in, but is dumped outside by Henry Godwin after missing a clothesline. Phineas hits a jawbreaker on Animal. Phineas then with a scoop slam on Animal, but the Road Warrior got a boot up when the Hog Farmer tried to come off the top. Hawk then gets the hot tag. Oh, yeah. And cleans house.
Well,
because that's what Hawk does, historically. All he ever does, actually.
Pretty much. Yeah.
The LOD were thinking Doomsday Device, but Godwins broke it up. The Road Warriors then took the bucket away from the Godwins and just beat the hell out of them.
Yes. So the Godwins got the bucket, and the Hart Foundation were working with them. They began distracting the ref to allow them a chance to do whatever they wanted to do. And I love this because Owen sees that the Road Warriors have intercepted the bucket and turns the ref around so that he can watch the Road Warriors just beating the crap out of him with this bucket. And he immediately DQs them.
Yep. So yeah, the ref disqualifies the Legion of Doom. They're out of this match. Why? I don't know.
Because we can't let the Road Warriors lose, apparently, ever. Legitimately.
Or how about you let them win? Like, man, as a kid, like, they were nothing but a legend to me. Like, because Vince, for whatever reason, never wanted to, like, really give them the push that they got elsewhere. You know, it always kind of seemed like Vince was never willing to put them over as unstoppable.
Like, do you think it was just that he was really frustrated that his 2 knockoff teams never panned out and was just sad that he had to finally pay these guys to come to his company?
I guess, because even 6 years earlier when they were champions, I believe in like the summer and fall of 92 or whatever it was, it's not like a real memorable run. You know, like I think they may have ended up losing the belts to DiBiase and IRS or something, it wasn't, or the Natural Disasters or something like that. They were just never like the guys. And I don't know, it's just kind of interesting how Vince never really let them be a dominant tag team. Because when they come back at this time, they kind of get lost in the shuffle. They let the New Age Outlaws absolutely just embarrass them over the course of like a year. And then they kind of go away, and that's the end of them. So
I'm curious to know, I mean, I'm sure we don't know exactly, but I wonder how many of these start and stops was just Hawk's behavior backstage and stuff like that.
Well, that's true, too. Yeah, there may have been some outside interference there.
Yeah, so after the LOD is DQ'd, Thrasher takes the role of legal man and begins beating on one of the Godwins. He hits a scoop slam, and then Mosh lifts Thrasher onto the top rope and slams him onto the other Godwin, onto Godwin for a 2 count. One of the Godwins, whichever one it is now, Phineas or Henry, rolls outside, and Mosh gets his hands on, gets his hands down on the mat for a Hardy Boy style leap, where Thrasher leaps over him over the top rope and onto Godwin, who's on the floor. And immediately Thrasher gets back in the ring. He gets Phineas back in the ring and goes to bounce off the rope, but Henry pulls the rope down and Thrasher tumbles to the floor.
I'll tumble for you. That's right. Yeah. So Henry then with a standing elbow drop for a near fall for the Godwins. Henry and Phineas hit a double back body drop onto Thrasher. They go for it a second time, but that's never a good idea, as Thrasher delivers a sunset flip to Henry and pins and eliminates the Godwins.
Oh, yeah. I did like, as the Godwins had just double-teamed him, King says, "These guys are the toughest guys in dresses since Brian Pillman." And then he goes, "Oops, did I bring up Pillman again?"
You turd, King.
Oh, yeah, so the Godwins are eliminated. Owen Hart is in the ring immediately. He hits a gut-wrench suplex on Thrasher, then pounds on him as the fans begin chanting, "USA, USA."
Right.
Owen gets the ref to yell at Mosh and then uses the time to double-team Thrasher in the corner. I love watching Owen Hart just manipulate the referee as a heel. He's awesome at this. Bulldog tags in and hits a clothesline. We get more USA chants, louder this time. A stalled vertical suplex by the Bulldog gets a 1 count when Mosh breaks up the tag, or breaks up the pin and tags up. And now Owen Hart is up top, hits a leaping dropkick, and even though they didn't tag, the ref allows the swap.
Yes. Of course he did. So Thrasher hits a crossbody for a near fall on Owen Hart. Owen hits a hangman's neck breaker onto Thrasher, picks up a near fall for the Hart Foundation. Bulldog and Thrasher then botch a crucifix and then crawl to their corners sadly in shame and tag out. Like, they do it and they're just like, well, shit, that was it before we were going to tag out, so I guess we'll just go ahead and get out of here anyway.
Yeah, they both, like, they get tangled, they fall down, and they both just, like, lay there for a second, like, oh, shit.
Yeah, what do we do? Nothing we can do about it now.
A better reaction than what the other two did in the last match when they botched the neckbreaker spot.
Right. No, that's how it's supposed to look.
At this point, I noticed Owen's trunks have the Slammy winner written on them. I thought that's awesome. I'd never noticed that before.
That's 2-time Slammy winner, bud.
Oh, yes.
He'd correct you.
Well, he's got 2 Slammies on each leg, yeah.
Right, exactly. Mosh then hits a back body drop onto the King of Hearts and cleared house on both Owen and Davey Boy. Mosh then ducked a spinning heel kick, and Owen hit the Bulldog on accident. Owen then back body dropped Mosh, and the crowd explodes as Austin runs in and hits Owen Hart with the Stone Cold Stunner. Mosh pins Owen, picks up the win. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Winners and new WWF Tag Team Champions, the Headbangers.
Everybody's favorite, the Headbangers.
Yay.
Oh, so the Headbangers get into the crowd to celebrate, and Stone Cold made his way in and made his way out very quickly. And then we get another promo for the Stone Cold Uncensored VHS, because Stone Cold said so.
Right, it's like, hey, he might not be on the card, folks, but he's we're gonna get him in as much as possible.
Oh, yeah. We see the Headbangers again celebrating with a woman, and she has a very small top on. They demand beers from the concession stand, but the ladies won't take no shit. Instead, the Bangers throw out 2 hot dogs and then raise the belts up.
Yeah, yay! Woo! It's like, why didn't you just, like, make any plans at all with those people?
Yeah.
So that you wouldn't look stupid when the ladies are just like, no, we're not giving you beers. Like, who the hell do you think you are?
Oh, so we go back to the announcers. King says that the commish needs to come back out here and address this, and we then cut backstage where JR is injured talking to Sergeant Slaughter.
Something needs to be done about this Austin. He's just reckless.
Yeah, and here's a little bit of it, because JR curses more than anyone else on this broadcast.
We do everything in my power to make sure that doesn't happen again. I'm really sorry.
Well, the thing about it is you can't trust this.
That's for sure.
You can't trust him.
Don't anybody trust him.
You know, and that's all well and good. He's a bad son of a gun. Everybody's a 316. They can kiss my 316. What they can do, and so can Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I'll tell you something else. You need to tell Vince that this happens again, my ass ain't gonna be around here, because I didn't come here to get whipped and beat up.
I know how you feel.
Looks like JR gonna be all right.
Yeah, he appears to be in good spirits. I think everything's fine there.
Which I just thought about this was that how much of the blurring of the lines has been made with Vince McMahon being in charge, because he just told you go tell Vince that I won't be around here.
I'm pretty sure Austin has stunned him at this point already.
Okay.
And like, I don't know, it's still very it's like, very inside kind of thing.
I know
like
it's official after the screw job, obviously.
Right, yeah, there's no going back at that point.
Yeah, but I just wasn't sure how much that had been blurred yet.
I'd say it's gearing up, and that's why I think it's interesting to see the interactions that Austin, Brett, and HBK all have with Vince. Like there's this weird... They all have this weird thing with him where, like, they want to call him out for being the boss and, like, yell at him about stuff, but they're like, but I can't really. So they just kind of, like, they, like, all subtly do it.
Yeah. Oh, so now we throw to the hype video for what I thought would have been tonight's main event, since it has the championship involved, but it's not. The Patriot taking on Bret Hart.
And I'm going to say right now, this should have been the main event.
Yeah. I mean, I love the other match. The other match is good. Was great, but yeah.
But it's all over the place, and I think it's one of those matches that leave people kind of, like...
Yep.
Inconclusive. It's not a good way to end a show.
No, you're right, yeah. So... The hype video explains that Del Wilkes brought South Carolina to national prominence. Yeah. And George Rogers, the Heisman winner, said that he owes his Heisman trophy to Del Wilkes blocking.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, this video was interesting. It's also odd that he was shown without his mask so freely.
A lot. But it's not like they're not showing just his face. They show like parts of his face at different times.
And this all goes back to kind of what I was saying about this being all very early Attitude Era stuff, because it's like the Mick Foley interview or the Gold Dust interview with JR, where they're like trying to give you more of an inside look at these characters, you know, and with Del, you know, it's like he's a man under that mask, you know, it's just part of his, it's part of his patriotism, I guess.
Oh yeah. Jimmy Suzuki tells us that Japan loved the Patriot. He's a superhero over there.
Where did they find this actor? Jimmy Suzuki with his name key as wrestling journalist.
Yeah, so like you said, they're showing us his face for some reason, but like in half bits. And Jimmy Suzuki told us that the reason Japan loved him is because they love patriotism, even though it's not for their country. Dell said that Brett has a right to his opinion, but that he couldn't stand by and let Brett continue to trash the USA. Right. And Dell mentions that he's beat Brett once, so he can do it again. And then we go to Sonny, who's with the Patriot, so that he can say all this one more time.
Made no sense at all. And like you said too, Sonny, just add her to the list of backstage interviewers tonight for no reason. It's like Sonny had nothing else going on. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure she's almost at the end of her run here. But
okay, so I want to play this promo from the Patriot. It's not great, but it's funny to me.
How often do you get to hear the Patriot? All right,
exactly.
Bret Hart, I've beat you once, and in my mind, I can do it again. I don't know what kind of plans you've got, what you've got up your sleeve, whether or not you've got the family stashed away somewhere, but I'll assure you this. Anyone sticks their nose in this match, and I'll flatten it. I did it once, and tonight with the title on the line, I've got to do it again.
Tony, have you ever seen Tom Segura's stand-up?
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you seen his bit about the accent that specifically means, I'll tell you what? I'll tell you what?
No, but that's exactly what our man here has going on, though.
Oh yeah, he sounds like Mongo McMichael. He's just,
oh Jesus,
that weird Southern accent.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Bret Hart, I'm gonna take it to you, and there ain't nothing you're gonna do about it.
I flatten your nose. I got to do it again. Sonny then winks at the camera just before they cut to the ring, and Sonny looks incredible in this interview. But
oh yeah, she's top form still. She hasn't fallen apart just yet.
Oh, yeah. We go to match number 6.
Match number 6, ladies and gentlemen, for the WWF Championship. That's right. He got a shot on pay-per-view. Del Wilkes, the Patriot, versus the champion, Bret the Hitman Hart.
Woo!
And did you notice, DP, the Patriot's music?
Yes, I did. I did notice that, and I think it's hilarious that it's 1997. It's not like we're that far from the entrance of Kurt Angle.
They're already probably talking to Kurt, honestly, at this point.
They're like, look, we got this dummy that we're pretending like he's a main eventer. We're going to take his music and give it to you as soon as you show up.
Yeah, funny little thing here. So Patriot uses this music during his somewhat short run. He's gone by the beginning of 98. Sergeant Slaughter uses this music at the Degeneration X pay-per-view in December of this year.
Oh, 97. Really? I did not know that.
I think he has like a boot camp match against Triple H or something terrible that we'll probably see eventually.
Oh, God. So we go backstage to Michael Cole and the Hitman after the Patriots entrance. And Bret explains that this is the World Federation, not the America Federation. And Bret explains that Americans don't know what a hero is.
It's just like, this is such a comfortable place for Bret at this point because he's just voicing his opinion, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't understand why Steve, you know, like, I mean, I know he respected Steve, but, you know, he doesn't necessarily like that he's getting over with flipping off the crowd and using that kind of language, and you know how he feels about Shawn and Hunter and all the DX shit, and like, he literally hates, you know, the American guys that are over right now. Like, he's not a fan of any of these guys.
And it's funny that you said, like, the stuff with him not understanding why Stone Cold's being cheered. It's the exact, like, Owen put it into words just 15 minutes ago with that's assault, and these people are encouraging it, and it's just exactly the same thing, so.
Yeah. So, good stuff, though. I mean, from Bret. Yeah. Again, like you said, he plays the heel well. Whether or not he likes it, that's a whole other story.
See, I meant to cut the audio from it, but Bret, I apparently just forgot to do it. Bret mentions that he isn't fighting Del Wilkes. He's fighting each and every fan out there. In his mind, he's fighting the fans. I was just like, good Lord.
And what's clever, too, and what I liked about, well, not at the time as a kid, I didn't understand it like this, but the whole Hart Foundation and their heel, they're very much just the proud Canadians.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they do say some bad shit about Americans, but the things that they're saying that we don't like, it's kind of the same angle that, like, CM Punk always have the straight edge thing. Like, it pisses you off, like, he's a heel, but at the end of the day, what are you really mad at him for? Because he doesn't smoke and he doesn't drink and he thinks that you're stupid because you do? You know, like, the Hart Foundation is just like, look, America, you're not as fucking great as you think you are. Like, we're not trying to say you suck, but we just think you're a little high on your horse, all right?
Yeah,
and
your priorities are fucked.
Right. And you can even tell, like, the crowd is a little torn at times with Brett. Like, they want to cheer, you know, like, damn it, Brett, we love you so much. Why do you have to say things about our country? Like, he still gets, like, pops throughout the match.
Oh, yeah. So, but during his entrance, he does get quite a few boos. His music hits, the crowd begins booing. I love he carries the Canadian flag to ringside, places it in the corner. Of course, the Patriot also had his American flag and has that in the corner.
Yeah, show off.
Brett hands the title to the ref and immediately attacks Del Wilkes.
Yeah. What a great little move. You know what I mean? Like, what a clever little thing that I don't see very often. You know, like, he just handed the belt to the ref and then bam, went right after the Patriot. It was great stuff.
Oh, yeah, so that begins this match as Brett is just beating on Del with right hands, runs his forehead along the rope, which I don't understand what that does with a mask on.
The eyes. That's supposed to be it's supposed to be raking the eyes.
Oh, okay, and that still makes sense with the mask. That makes sense.
Yeah, right. The mask does still kind of hurt it.
Oh, so we get a back suplex by Bret Hart. He ties the Patriot into the Tree of Woe and stomps on the chest and chin of Del Wilkes. Just rude.
Yeah. That's right. Bret Hart hates America, according to Vince. He just, like, says that sentence. He's like, Bret Hart hates America. It's like, whoa, okay. Strong. Patriot drops Bret with a clothesline. Patriot then hits the drop kick and then clotheslines the Hitman over the top rope. Bret, you know, being the savvy vet, takes this moment to get a break in, you know. Gets flipped off by the crowd, which I'm sure he didn't like.
No, because he's jawing with some guy right at ringside. He's not happy with him.
Yeah, not the worst fan interaction that a WWF superstar would have with the crowd tonight.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely get to that. I love that at some point after the Brit hates America, King said that so does his family, which is half of Canada.
Yeah, King's jokes about the Hart family always funny. I will give him that. Those always make me laugh.
Oh, so
back in the ring, Patriot with a series of arm drag takedowns, and then locks in the dreaded arm bar.
Oh.
And proceeds to just work the arm of Bret Hart for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it really takes the steam out of the crowd. Like, it kind of kills them.
Yeah, it does. So while he's doing that, the King runs down the entire siblings of Bret Hart, says all of the names. Vince makes sure to mention that Stu is one of the all-time greats. And then finally, Bret tries to use a hip lock takedown, but Del hangs onto the armbar and rolls through before driving his knees into the elbow of Bret Hart.
Oh my God, work that arm. You know, for the Patriots' dreaded arm finishing move, you know, because that's...
I was kind of wondering what he was working towards.
Just one of those working for the sense of working it. Bret does eventually escape, hits a few kicks to the knee of the Patriot, because, you know, he actually does have a move that hurts the knee. Hart props the Patriot's leg up on the bottom rope, jumps up, brings all of his weight down on top of it. King, for whatever reason, wants to show off his Patriot trivia knowledge and tells us that he won the first ever Battle Royal on Shotgun Saturday Night. He beat the Sultan on Raw and then upset Bret Hart. So that's pretty much what's got the Patriot to this point tonight.
Oh, okay.
And then the King, I loved it. He tried to mention like his accomplishments in Japan, and Vince just like immediately dismisses it. He's like, well, that was there, and this is here. Anyway, moving on. Like, because remember, it's 1997, King. Nobody else exists. There's only one wrestling company.
That's true.
In the mind of Vince McMahon.
Oh, so Patriot fights to his feet, selling the leg, but Bret rakes the eyes to stop the short comeback attempt. Now Bret locks on another leg submission and begins dropping elbows and torquing the knee. He's really working it over. Right. Bret drags Patriot to the corner and applies the figure 4 with the Patriot's legs wrapped around the ring post.
Oh, yeah. Bret then, again, in one of those moments I was talking about, yells at Vince and looks pissed. Like, I don't know what like he's saying or doing, but he just like makes a point to go over and yell at Vince McMahon and stare at him.
Yeah, he like yells at him and he says something about the USA chants from the crowd.
Yeah.
And Vince just asks, what happened to Bret Hart?
That's a shoot, folks. He's literally like, he wonders what happened to his good old Bret Hart.
Oh.
And Vince always has that same look on his face when the guys are doing this to him throughout the night. He just kind of keeps his head down and looks at them up over his glasses and just with his mouth half open, but he's not going to actually give them any like satisfaction with a reaction.
Oh, yeah. Well, the Hitman now headbutting the spine of Del Wilkes, and here comes the British Bulldog to watch the match at ringside.
For no reason, by the way. Like, why didn't he just accompany Bret to the ring? Because he comes out and he just kind of hangs out for a few minutes. Like, he doesn't do anything.
Yeah, and when he shows up, this brings on Austin chants from the crowd. I'm sure that really pleased Bret Hart.
Yeah, hey, the Patriot really appreciates that, guys. Like, he's having a hard enough time for this spot he was thrust into. Now you're going to chant for Austin. So.
Oh, yeah.
Can't blame him, though. Can't blame the crowd. Patriot reversed a suplex attempt from the Hitman and hit one of his own. Patriot then with a sunset flip to pick up a near fall. Del Wilkes then hits a big DDT on Hart and picks up another 2 counts.
Oh, yeah, and the King explains that he's got a special report. He says that the headbangers are going nuts right now. They're moshing and thrashing right on the Superstar hotline.
Oh, God. Anyway, Patriot bounced off the ropes, hits a clothesline, and I just thought this was interesting. Hit a clothesline on Bret, and then on the second attempt, Davey grabbed his foot. For what I have the opinion, in my opinion, Davey Boy wasn't paying attention to the one thing he was supposed to do while he was out there, and that's grab the Patriot's foot. And so the Patriot just backed up and did it again.
I think you're right, yeah.
So this leads to the Hitman getting a roll-up for a near fall on the Patriot. Patriot, though, fighting back, pushes Bret Hart into Davey Boy, who was standing on the apron at the time, and then Schoolboy's the champion and picks up another near fall. So the Patriot's coming very close in this match.
Oh, yeah. Patriot's fired up. He hits the full Nelson slam called the Uncle Slam on Bret.
I kind of like that.
I do like the Uncle Slam, yeah. But then Bulldog pulls Bret out of the ring for the... Well, not pull, he kind of just pulls him away from the pin.
It was another, I think, fucked up spot like by the Bulldog. Like, I don't think he did that. I don't think it went quite as planned. Like, it looked kind of sloppy.
Yeah, it was weird. But here comes Vader. The big babyface Vader runs down to attack Bulldog, begins hitting the Hitman with shots, runs Bret into the steel steps, and the ref just doesn't give a shit.
Like, all 4 of these men are now just fighting.
Yeah.
And it's not like Bulldog and Vader are fighting. Vader is beating up Bret Hart. He throws him into the steel steps and then just like rolls him back inside. And then I thought it was hilarious because Bret even looks at the ref and like thinks he's won. He's like telling the ref to like raise his hand. He's like, I just got thrown into the steps by Vader. Yeah. And the ref's like, no DQ. No DQ. We're going to fight. And it's like, what? Why would there not be a DQ?
It makes no sense at all. We get a big
Bret Hart. He's the heel. And he's like, what are you talking about?
So we get a big boot by the Patriot, a scoop slam, and then he climbs to the top rope. The Patriot
missile.
Oh, the Patriot hits the Patriot missile, which I assumed was a missile drop kick, but it's not. It's a diving shoulder block from the top rope. Yeah. And Bret Hart will not be beat. He kicks out at 2, and the Patriot doesn't know what else he can do.
Right, so yeah, he's like, well, I guess I'll go back to the beginning of my moveset. He hits an atomic drop on the Hitman, followed by a back suplex, and picks up a near fall on the champ.
I like that combo, by the way. That's a cool little combo nobody really uses.
It was nice, and Vince was even like, whoa, that was good little moves there. Bret hits a desperation hot shot, dropping the Patriot across the second rope on his throat. Bret then hits a Bulldog on the Patriot, pick up a near fall. Can't quite put the man away. Patriot gets up, hits Bret with punches in the corner, and accidentally hits the ref as he pulled back to swing. Oh, no.
Oh, no. The ref is down. The Patriot hits another Uncle Slam, and the ref takes a few seconds to see it and count, so Bret gets his foot on the rope before the 3.
Ah, good stuff. Both men, though, go down after shoulder blocking one another at the same time. I'm not sure I've seen too many of those. You see a lot of the clotheslines and the occasional headbutts.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they both go down.
The crowd is losing their mind during this 10 count with USA chants. The hard cam is shaking due to the crowd going nuts so much.
Yeah, they're finally back into this. They pulled the crowd back in. Patriot reversed a roll-up attempt from the Hitman into a roll-up of his own and picked up a near fall. So another very cool, nice spot there.
Oh, yeah.
Patriot whips Bret Hart chest first into the corner, dropping the Hitman to the mat, and then put him in the sharpshooter.
Oh.
The Hitman has having a little taste of his own medicine.
Oh, yeah, the crowd's going crazy for it. The announcers say it's all over, but Bret is too good. He already knows the counter to the sharpshooter because he's the master of the sharpshooter, so he just counters it and reverses it into a sharpshooter of his own.
Yeah, how cool was that? Did you see how Bret counters the sharpshooter?
I thought it was awesome.
All he did was with one hand, he just reached back and grabbed the guy's foot and just pulled it down, and then sat it up into his own sharpshooter. I was like, man, why doesn't everybody do that?
Yeah, it was awesome. It's a counter that should be as well known as turning over the figure four.
I agree.
But no, so we get USA chance. It takes Wilkes a long time. He's close to the ropes, but he just can't do it. And instead of tapping so that the crowd can tell what's happening, he just verbally tells the ref that he quits.
Well, I guess I didn't necessarily know. I was sitting there why is the ref ringing the bell? I didn't understand. I didn't know if he tapped out or if it was he passed out or what the deal was.
Well, yeah, that's the other problem. He's in a mask, so he needs to be over-exaggerating any movement with his head, and he just isn't. Right. So you really can't tell what's happening. But winner by submission, Bret the Hitman Hart.
That's right. He retains his title. Bret beats the Patriot up post-match, hits a pile driver on the man. Bret then takes Del Wilkes' American flag, snaps the pole in half, and choked the Patriot with the flag. And I gotta be honest with you, man. This kind of stuff, it is such an interesting study for me. Anything pre-9/11 when it comes to the patriotic stuff. Because there's a little groan when he breaks that pole.
Yeah.
But this crowd is kind of indifferent when he's choking him with that flag. I don't know. I would just have really expected real fire coming from that crowd. And they're like,
It's just interesting because, so when he breaks it, yeah, you're right. The majority of the crowd is kind of ho-hum about it, but there is one woman who screams like someone stabbed her. As soon as it happens, he breaks it, and then he starts choking the Patriot with the flag, and it's just funny that he's doing this with the flag, but he's very careful not to really be disrespectful because this is the same Bret Hart that's going to get legit upset at Shawn Michaels doing shit with the Canadian flag here in a month.
Shawn was tasteless with his thing. But anyway, that's another day. Bret punched Pat Patterson when he and officials tried to intervene. No one punches Pat Patterson, you son of a bitch.
He singles Patterson out. There's other officials out there, and he just gets up and punches him, and then goes back to attacking the Patriot.
And then we go to the King and Vince, and King's drawing comparisons between what we just witnessed and the Vietnam War.
Yeah, and Vince is speechless at this. He's like, I don't know what I don't get what you're trying to say.
Vince leaves him out to dry, and the King tries to then explain it instead of just stopping. King says he came close, kind of like in Vietnam, and Vince is like, "What are you talking about?" Because we didn't really win that war either, and it's like, well, yeah, I guess that's not really similar at all, but whatever.
Yeah.
Real quick, some of you out there might be like, "Who the hell is the Patriot? What is a Del Wilkes?" Well, he was everywhere. He wrestled in the AWA as the Trooper in the early to mid 80s. Had kind of a big boss man-like gimmick. He literally handed out tickets to his opponents after he beat them and gave plastic badges out to the kids in attendance. He donned the Patriot mask after the AWA went belly up in the early 90s. Had some success. Like I said, was in Dallas and the GWF for a while. Then got his big break in WCW when he and Marcus Bagwell became Stars and Stripes. They dabbled with the tag team titles, beating Orndorff and Paul Roma at one point. They lost the belts to Harlem Heat eventually. He left that company. That's when he went to All Japan. He spent years in All Japan Pro Wrestling just before he was brought in here to be the Mr. America to counter the evil Bret Hart and his Hart Foundation. Because, God forbid Bret and Shawn fight. Vince is having to do anything he can to try to keep those two separated.
Yeah. So, because Wilkes shows up and is immediately rocketed to the main event picture, and then he's gone very quickly soon after this.
He doesn't even make it to the Survivor Series. He was supposed to be... I can remember being so disappointed as a kid, watching one of the shows at our friend Tech's house, and the announcement that the Patriot has been taken out of the Survivor Series elimination match against the Hart Foundation, and he will be replaced by Steve Blackman.
Oh, God.
I was like, what's a Steve Blackman? Like that guy had like hardly been on TV at that point. So yeah, the Patriot, it doesn't last long.
Okay, so after the match, Vince is speechless. Then we see that, I don't even remember which announcer or which person catches up to Brett.
Yeah, Michael Cole.
Michael Cole catches up to Brett, and Brett tells us how all of Americans are losers, and how, pretty much just puts over how Canada's way better. And then Davey Boy's like, now hold on, Canada and Great Britain are better.
Yeah.
And he says that Canada and Great Britain will defeat America in this war, and Bret Hart comes back and goes, yeah, I meant Canada and Great Britain.
Yeah, I like Britain too because they respect Canadian wrestlers like himself.
Then we go to the hype video for our main event.
That's right, The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. Taker is annoyed by Shawn, just in general. It's kind of the initial thing going on here. We see the footage of Shawn hitting him with a chair at SummerSlam, costing him his title match with Bret Hart. Shawn's not apologetic about this situation, and is shown beating The Undertaker up on Raw with the chair.
Undertaker is playing a very almost vulnerable babyface at this point. Where, the promo weird. He gives, he's like, when I first came in, I hid behind the death mask because I was scared of, to love or something. Or I was scared of the crowd's reaction.
Yeah, it's all kind of part of trying to make all of these characters more human-like. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Peeling back the layers of a Mankind or a Goldust and trying to, kind of give you a personal connection.
Yeah.
They tried it a little bit with The Undertaker, and they're like, fuck it. Ministry of Darkness, You're a Satan worshipping son of a bitch. We give up.
But I just thought it was interesting because Undertaker's talking, he's very heartfelt. And then we go to Shawn, who basically says in his promo, I did all this for the purpose of being entertaining.
Yeah. Well, Shawn's in full-on dick mode at this point, too.
Oh, yeah.
Any of his promo work and anything he says is all tongue-in-cheek bullshit because he was not in a good place at this point.
No.
Taker mentions that he signed Shawn's death warrant in his own blood.
Here you go.
When the blood flowed, I took the blood and I signed your death warrant with it. At Ground Zero, you're going to pay, and you're going to pay the ultimate price.
You're going to die at Ground Zero.
It's a wrestling match there, Taker. Let's not forget about that. And we're not supposed to be killing anybody. And then we go to something, I never like these, and I have a bit of a theory about why this is happening. Vince McMahon is interviewing Shawn Michaels, who is backstage, while Vince is sitting at the announce desk.
I find it interesting because all these shows we've watched with Shawn in his dick mode, as far as you've put it, right. Vince is the only man that interviews him.
That's what I was about to say. Because I will bet you they don't even want to put someone like Michael Cole through it. You know what I mean?
That could be
because of how he is, and they probably can't have Sonny do it for a multitude of reasons that were going on around this time.
Oh yeah, because has Shawn already made the whole Sunny Days comment, or is that still coming?
I think it's I think it's about to happen really soon.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. Yeah. So that's what my theory was. This is happening because no one wants to fucking have to stand next to that guy with a microphone right now and try to interview him because it just won't be worth it.
Yes.
So Vince is like, I'll do it from here.
Yeah, so he's doing it from the table through the Titantron.
Yeah.
And somehow Shawn can hear him backstage. It's weird.
Yeah, so anyway, so Shawn says a bunch of bullshit. His pupils are completely dilated, ladies and gentlemen. They should not have zoomed in that close. Shawn tells us that he hasn't slept in 13 years, and it kind of looks like it at this point, and that he's going to beat the Taker because he can, for God's sake.
First, before he said that, he stole Stone Cold's line and says, why? Because I said so. And then he corrects himself and goes, why? Right. Because I can.
Come on, Shawn. Come on. I know you have no respect for anybody at this point, but you could try to avoid stepping on Austin's dick like that.
Yeah, probably would be a good idea. So then we go to match number 7, our main event of the evening.
The first time ever.
The first time ever. And because it's the first time ever, we're not going to get a satisfying ending. The Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, taking on The Undertaker.
Yeah.
So Shawn comes out, spits on the crowd right away, but it doesn't matter what he does. The women are losing their shit.
Well, and in another look at me moment from the Heartbreak Kid, he doesn't come out in a timely fashion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, his music hits, and he waits, and you wait, and then Sean comes out on Sean's time because Sean was a dick.
Yeah, so Sean gets in the ring, does the pose right as the music is ending, and the pyro doesn't go off right away. It starts going off right as he's about done doing it, so he makes a jerk-off motion and mockingly encourages the last of the pyro to continue going off.
I just have here, yes, the classic Sean's pyro goes off late, and he makes the jerk-off gesture.
Oh, Vince says that's a bad omen for Michaels.
Yeah, I'm sure he wanted to say other things about that, but So Undertaker comes out with full thunderstorm beginning.
Yes.
And they go to black instantly. And you want to know why I think they go to black as quick as they do and they don't give you the Sean reaction to the bell toll? Because asshole Sean probably would have laughed or made the like, ooh, I'm real scared motion when the Undertaker music hit. At this point, I would imagine.
I noticed people are holding their lighters up during the Taker entrance, which is something you'll never see again.
Yeah.
HBK uses so Undertaker makes his way in, he gets down to the entrance, and the match begins with HBK using the ref as a shield for a little bit.
Well, see, but does the match begin at this point?
I don't know.
I don't think the match has started yet because the bell rings later. So anyway,
that's right.
We'll get back to this. Yeah, like DP saying, HBK is hiding behind the referee, Mike Chioda, and Taker just punch the ref in the face.
Just knocks him down. And
just for no reason at all.
Oh, and so begins the story of this match.
Right.
Frail referees.
Right. The story of this match. Undertaker beats up every referee and is yet upset when there isn't anyone there to count his pinfall.
Oh, yeah. So I did like HBK's reaction to this because, okay, so HBK's being a dick, but this performance in this match is fantastic. This is a good match.
But between the bells, he's the best in the world. You know, that's always been the truth. There's no debating that.
Yeah, because he throws the ref at Undertaker thinking, oh, this will stop you for a second. Undertaker just knocks him down, and HBK immediately bails to the ringside. He tells the announcers he's out of here. Screw this kind of match. I didn't sign up for this. And the crowd boos. But here comes Sergeant Slaughter, who sends Michaels back to the ring. Doesn't say anything to Undertaker about knocking out his referees.
No. And as a matter of fact, as Slaughter is forcing HBK back to the ring, the Undertaker picks up the official and tosses him outside on top of HBK.
Yeah, and Slaughter again, he kind of checks on him, but doesn't really seem to care what Undertaker's doing.
No. So Taker then exits the ring, chases HBK towards the house. Here's my other issue with that. You could have just followed him out instead of having Slaughter come out and try to act like he's intimidating. I loved HBK knocking on the door on the set as he was trying to escape from the Undertaker.
I did like that as well, yeah. So he punches Michaels and then hits a huge body slam on the steel stage. Taker then throws Shawn into the flower bed. And my favorite part of this whole interaction, Undertaker punches Shawn one time, and Shawn manages to sell it all the way down the ramp to the ring.
Yeah, he just kind of cartoon character wobbles for a few yards, you could say.
He just tumbles all the way down.
And then Taker chokes HBK with what kind of cables, DP?
An electric cord.
Oh, they're video cables, you idiot. Old Jesse Ventura and Tony Schiavone. So HBK is then tossed into the guardrail by the Taker. Things are not going well. I finally have the note here where I say, I don't think this match has started yet.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, I think you are right. Taker punches HBK, sending him into the French announce table, which we forgot to mention earlier, but there's a French announce table and a Spanish announce table.
And none of them get broken. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, none of them get broken. So he hits him again, and Michaels falls into the barricade railing, and I just have, this is Bugs Bunny Shawn Michaels tonight. He's just bouncing all over the place like Dolph Ziggler with ADHD.
Yep.
But it does work.
Mr. Perfect, yep. The old Dolph Ziggler, Mr. Perfect style of selling there.
Yeah. Taker gets back in the ring, punches him a few times, and then covers, but no ref. Like you said, Undertaker's pissed off.
Where's the ref? Why is there a ref? I don't know, Undertaker, because you punched him and threw him out of the ring at some point. That's why.
Yeah.
I also have a question here, too. Where's Sergeant Slaughter? Like, all these shenanigans are taking place, and the commissioner now is absent. Like, he was there to make sure Shawn didn't walk away. But where is he now that there's no ref in this match?
It's almost like Slaughter's entire thing is just to make sure that Shawn gets beat up by the Undertaker. Seemingly.
Well, yeah. Pretty much.
So, yeah.
So Undertaker throws HBK into the corner. Shawn does his classic flip up and falls over headfirst out of the ring. Earl Hebner now comes out. HBK meets him on the ramp and literally begs him to disqualify the Undertaker. Says, you gotta DQ him. You gotta disqualify him. And Earl does the same thing he did earlier to Brett or whatever. He says, no, you're gonna fight.
Get back in the ring and let's go.
Yeah, and the match starts at this point, ladies and gentlemen.
I think you're right. Oh, so the match begins. Taker chases the ref out, though.
Yeah, of course.
And Michaels hits a chop block and begins beating on Taker as he finally has the upper hand. Michaels whips Taker hard into the corner, goes for the 10 punches, but it doesn't take long before Undertaker's back in control. He stops him midway and pushes him off, but Michaels gets right back up in his face, and then Taker knocks him down and goozles him. This time, Michaels fights back and climbs to the top rope, goes for a double axe handle, but Undertaker again counters with a punch to the gut, and Taker sends Michaels to the floor.
Yeah. HBK, though, not to be stopped for long, gets back into the ring with an attempted sunset flip on the Taker, but he doesn't go down and picks HBK up off the mat and delivers a double-handed choke slam.
Oh, yeah.
HBK then gets hung up on the top rope, and Taker delivers knees to his like stomach or whatever. Like he's just draped across the top rope. Until he eventually bounces HBK up in the air and Shawn racks himself on the top rope.
Oh, yes. And it's funny because, like, in my notes I keep mentioning that all the punches. Usually I don't mention punches, but it's because HBK's selling these punches like suplexes.
Right.
So I gotta mention them. So anyways, yeah, so he racks himself on the top rope. Undertaker then clotheslines Michaels to get a 2 count. Vince says he cannot believe that Michaels kicked out. And then Taker locks on the wrist lock. He uses it to send Michaels high into the air over and over again, just pushing him up in the air and slamming him back down. I thought it was interesting, but kind of weird. He short-arm shoulder blocks from the Undertaker and then climbs the corner for the old school, but HBK kicks the ropes and Taker racks himself.
Yeah, all that working of the arm for nothing. HBK then hits the Undertaker with a baseball slide while he was on the floor, then jumps over the top rope onto the Taker, but the Undertaker catches him and runs him into the steel ring post.
Twice, putting
Shawn down. And I knew something weird was about to happen when they take the shot of Shawn laying on the mat, and he's not selling.
No.
He's looking at something or somebody in the front row, and he's just staring at somebody.
Yes.
And then he just springs up and very casually, like maybe this won't get caught on camera, spits on somebody in the front row.
Yes, he does. And you can clearly hear the guy respond, "You fucking faggot." He's pissed off at him.
This guy, I would realize later. Later, I would realize why this guy probably got spit on when he's yelling at Triple H. I don't know if you caught that audio.
Yeah, I don't have the audio because you really couldn't hear it when you just listened to it.
No,
but yeah, this guy is calling everybody faggots, and
it's not cool.
I'm pretty sure he did that to HBK before HBK decided to stand up and spit on him. But still, maybe don't break character and spring up.
Yeah, right. So anyway, HBK gets back in the ring. Taker works his back, which was not good, as we would all know months from now.
Before he even starts working the back, he delivers a low blow to Michaels right in front of the ref, and again, the referee doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, whatever. We're ECW tonight, guys. Taker then with a big back body drop on HBK, picking up a near fall. Shawn tries to escape, and the ladies go nuts as Shawn's butt crack is revealed as the Undertaker grabbed him by the tights to pull him back in.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, dude, like, I've never heard a reaction like that for any guy taking his shirt off or anybody coming out. Like, women loved Shawn Michaels.
Oh, and they loved that first half inch of butt crack, apparently.
Ugh. Which was just like a big ball of sweaty hair. Like, it was really unpleasant looking.
Yeah, it was not good. So, HBK hits a quick swinging neck breaker, and both men roll the correct direction. But Taker does the dead man sit-up, and HBK scrambles to the floor and runs away and grabs a chair.
Right.
HBK...
Yeah, why not?
Well, the refs allowed everything else. Why not use a chair? HBK rolls back in the ring, and Taker follows him, but Undertaker hits him with a big boot before HBK can even use the chair.
Yeah.
Now, Undertaker picks up the chair and raises it high, but this time the ref has had enough. Earl Hebner takes the chair. Undertaker goes to intimidate him, but Michaels sees an opportunity, pushes Undertaker and the chair into the ref, smashing the ref into Earl Hebner, or smashing the chair into Earl Hebner, and the ref is again down.
So, yeah, we're in this situation again. No referee. HBK goes up top, hits his beautiful elbow drop twice on the dead man.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
And then, making another appearance here on the Golden Age of Grappling podcast, it's Rick Rude. What the hell is Rick Rude doing here as he's coming to ringside?
Yeah, Rick Rude shows up.
He tossed HBK a pair of brass knuckles, and Sean then used them to take the Taker down.
Oh, yeah, he just clobbers Undertaker with the knuckles, shoves him into his pants. He goes to cover him, but the ref is still down and out.
Yep.
But
don't worry, here comes the cavalry as Triple H and Chyna, with Jack Doan in tow, make their way to the ring, and it gets a near fall count for HBK.
Oh, yes.
But then what happens next, DP?
Well, he apparently counted too slow, so Michaels gets up and just punches the ref in the face and sends him down, so we're back to having no referee.
No ref again.
Yeah, HBK now just stomping on Undertaker. He's beating on him. Triple H kicks the third ref, and HBK shoves Taker down to Triple H, who beats on him at ringside. Chyna and Triple H toss Undertaker into the steel steps. Now Michaels gets Earl Hebner back up, then just slams his head into the turnbuckle, knocking him back down. Because we're going full NWO ending here on this one. Hebner is down again. Triple H slides Taker back in the ring. Michaels just chokes him a bunch and then drops knees to the face of him. Undertaker slowly gets to his feet and just fires back with big right hands. Michaels gets control, though, again, and clotheslines Undertaker to the floor. And more bullshit happens. Triple H and Chyna double team Undertaker at ringside.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Taker just gets his hands on Hunter, but HBK comes off the top rope and hits the Taker. HBK then returns the favor and chokes the Undertaker with video cables.
Oh, yes.
HBK gets back in the ring, and this is when I noticed the fan very audibly being heard calling Triple H a faggot and a sissy ass and saying he should have stayed in the back. And Triple H gives him the long stare.
Yeah.
And I gotta be, at this point, I was kind of like, oh, you know what? I think you probably should slap the shit out of that guy. Like, why don't you go ahead? Like, now I know who Sean spit on. Because when I first saw it, they went into the crowd, and I was like, that kind of just looks like some dad with his kids. I didn't see the little shit that he was actually, spitting at.
Well, yeah, because the little shit that he was spitting at now is moving back and forth in front of his own row of people and behind the first row of people, trying to get as close as he can to Triple H to call him a sissy guy and a fag and all that stuff. And I just have, the 90s.
Yeah.
And so we go back to the match.
Yeah. Undertaker and HBK counter each other's finishers. Taker beats HBK up in the corner and then reaches into the Heartbreak Kid's pants and pulls out the brass knuckles.
Oh, yeah. And Vince says, I think he just pulled that ring out of his belly button.
And I was honestly at that point thinking, is he serious? Like,
I couldn't figure it out.
I didn't know if he was just making a joke or what, because, yeah, he said that, and, King didn't really react, and Vince just moved on.
No, King corrects him. He goes, no, those are brass knuckles.
Oh,
but it's very quiet.
Yeah. So anyway, Taker hits HBK with the brass knuckles, and then knocks Triple H off of the apron. The Taker covers the Heartbreak Kid, but the ref makes a very slow count. Probably because he's been beating the shit out of him this whole match.
That's true. Slowest count possible, though. Just 1, 2, and finally Sean kicks out before the 3 can come.
Yes, and then what happens to the referee, DP?
Well, he counted slow, so he deserves to be punished. So Undertaker chokeslams Earl Hebner, and we're back to having no refs.
Yeah, back where we started. So yeah, he chokeslams the ref. Undertaker hits a clothesline on Sean. Tim White comes to the ring.
The hero of the day.
Finally a ref that's like, what the hell are you guys doing out here? I'm calling for the bell. This shit's over.
Yeah, he DQs both men.
Because it should have happened 20 minutes ago.
And probably 20 times over.
Yeah, exactly.
So the match is officially over, but the action is not.
No, not at all.
Taker pulls Triple H into the ring, then throws him back onto the floor. HBK hits the Sweet Chin music and ties Undertaker in the ropes, Andre the Giant style.
Right.
Chyna grabs a chair and Triple H kicks Tim White.
We got to make sure we hurt all the refs before the night's over.
But when Shawn tries to use the chair again, Taker gets a boot up and kicks him away. And manages to hold his own for a little bit against Triple H and HBK, but they finally get the upper hand. Triple H takes a tombstone pile driver, even though they have the upper hand for a second. And then HBK and Taker are the only ones left now.
Yeah. HBK makes and then as this is happening, HBK has Taker kind of reeling and literally makes a gesture to Vince like, where is everybody else?
Yeah.
Like, he looks at Vince like,
the fuck is going on?
What's going on? And it's like, God damn, Shawn. Like, you are incomparable at this fucking point in your career.
But I was confused because the first man that I saw run into the ring was Road Dogg. I was like, oh, holy shit, this whole team's together already. But no, he was just part of the rest of the locker room.
Yeah, that's Double J Jesse James. The Sultan, a.k.a. Rikishi, Too Sexy Brian Christopher, Flash Funk, the Legion of Doom, Los Bariquas, Jesse James, Kama, Farouk, D'Lo Brown, Rockabilly, the Disciples of Apocalypse, the Godwins, and even The Rock in a polo shirt and khaki shorts come in to break up the action.
Oh yeah, so they're all, breaking everybody up. Lots of men on Undertaker, obviously, but Taker breaks free and dives over the top rope onto Shawn and the crowd of guys around him at ringside. Really cool spot. Gets the crowd going nuts. At least it's something to send him home with. But finally, DX escapes, and Triple H is in the ring alone with the chair. Oh, no, sorry. Where am I? I'm confused here. Undertaker's in the ring alone with the chair as the rest of the locker room retreats to the back.
Yeah. And I thought it was strange, too. Just another example. Like, HBK, oddly, I thought that storm to the back was kind of odd. Because you can also audibly hear him telling everybody to get off of him.
Yeah.
Like, when they're all, getting up, you can hear him, get off of me. And then he literally stands up. He doesn't, back down the ramp with being held up by Triple H and Chyna so they can get that shot, and then they go to the shot of the Taker. Because Taker stands up, turns around, and almost looks confused, like, oh, I guess... I literally think... Because it's just classic end of show type of thing.
Yeah.
Where they should have their little stare down. And instead, it just seemed like Shawn fucking... he stood up and just booked it right out of there.
Yeah, and in the time that we watched, Shawn and them running away and just see the back of them, the rest of the roster also cleared out because they were just gone by the time we come back to Undertaker. Right. It's weird looking. It just feels like something was edited almost.
Right, so Taker's music plays, he celebrates, and then I love this. Vince thanks us for watching and says, coming up! And then the pay-per-view ends.
I was so confused.
I was like, does Vince think it's fucking Raw and silk stockings or La Femme Nikita or something like that is coming up next after?
That might be.
It's almost like he was ready to throw to the next thing and he's like, oh yeah, alright, nothing. Anyway.
You paid for this, alright, bye.
Right.
Oh, so yeah, that's the end of the show. That's all of Ground Zero from 1997.
Yeah. Good times. Obviously it wasn't 5-star action across the board, but an entertaining show. A lot of happenings, a lot of the biggest stars of all time, just kind of getting ready to peak, and some of the other guys like Brett and Taker are absolutely at the top of their games at this point.
Oh yeah, and this would go on to the Shawn Michaels and Undertaker Hell in a Cell match at the next pay-per-view for Bad Blood, which explains the high buy rate for an in-your-house show, like we had talked about earlier. So.
And then the Montreal Screwjob, and we all know how that goes.
Yes. So I was checking out the Wrestling Observer from right after this pay-per-view, as I had talked about earlier. I thought it was interesting. They had a few polls from the night of, I guess, best match poll. Basically,
I love polls.
People had to call or fax in their votes because that's just how they got the rules or the votes at this point. It's in a little note on there. But as far as the best match of the night poll, Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker won with 55 points. Bret Hart versus The Patriot had 19 votes. Yeah. And El Torito versus Max Mini had 18 votes.
Dude, seriously. I don't have an argument with that. That Mini's match is one of the most entertaining things on this whole card.
Oh yes. So worst match poll, Tony. Can you guess who won the worst match of the night?
I would have to say probably that triple threat match.
Yes.
Or or the light heavyweight match?
So Farouk versus Crush versus Savio Vega got a 67 votes for worst match. The Fatal 4-Way Tag Team got 22. And then Brian Christopher versus Scott Putski got 8, which I think people were just giving them a break because it's an injury, so obviously the match wasn't what was supposed to happen.
Right. I didn't hate that tag team match, though. You know, like, I thought it was...
Dude,
I thought it was okay.
I thought there were points in it that were really entertaining, and there were other points that weren't, but, dude, Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer is not very kind to that match. Like, he doesn't even rate it. He gives it a dud.
Wow. My God. It's like, I thought some of the individual action and stuff like that during the course of the match was pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
I just wonder if it had more to do with, like, I don't know, hadn't really been too many fatal 4-way tag team matches at this point. Maybe it was
I think,
a bit much to swallow.
Yeah, the rules and then, DQing DOA or whatever the heck they are, the LOD.
LOD.
Yeah, so do you want to hear the star rankings real quick before we get out of here?
Sure.
Number 1, Pillman versus Goldust got 2.5 stars from Mr. Meltzer.
Okay, I like it. That's, that's fair.
Brian Christopher versus Scott Putski got a charitable 0.5 stars. He, mentioned, never really even got going, obviously. Number 3, Vega versus Farouk versus Crush gets minus 1.5 stars.
Whoa. Man, he really hit. It is a terrible match, folks. I will tell you.
It's bad. Max Mini versus El Torito got 2.75 stars.
I think you could have went 3 there. Come on.
Probably, yeah.
Give the minis a break.
Number 5, the tag Fatal 4-Way, as I said, got a dud, no ranking whatsoever. Match number 6, the Patriot versus Bret Hart, he gave 3.25 stars. And number 7, Undertaker versus HBK, he gave 3.75 stars. So,
wow.
I'd say pretty much in line with a lot of our opinions, except for he really, really hated that tag team Fatal 4-Way match.
I guess I just found the good in it, but I really liked the top 2 matches. The HBK and Undertaker was really good, and I thought Bret Hart and Patriot had a fine match.
Yeah.
It wasn't the Patriots' fault that the crowds are still warming up to him. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like at times they really died down, and I don't know how excited they really were for the Patriot, but aside from that, the 2 of them had a fine match. So
yeah, and I think there were elements of it that like having Vader show up basically as a baby face was kind of strange,
right.
But other than that, I enjoyed it.
Well, and at the next pay-per-view, because our top billed WWF champion will be in a tag team match along with the Bulldog taking on the Patriot and Vader. So
what a match.
Yeah.
All right, so that is 1997's Ground Zero of In Your House. So where are we heading now? The question is, and like Tony had said last week, we try to keep around the same time of year with these shows, unless I just get a random hair up my ass and want to watch something specific. But I was looking at various matches or pay-per-views that happen in September. Not a lot of them.
No.
Basically, WCW for a long time just skipped from like July to October. It's like there's nothing in between there.
Yep.
But in 1993, they began putting something in between there with 1993's Fall Brawl. And that is where we are headed to.
You know how to pull on my heartstrings when it comes to mid-90s WCW.
I don't know, man. I love this WCW stuff, and I'm sure we'll get another appearance from Johnny B. Bad during this show.
God. Yeah, there's no avoiding him.
But this is the infamous first match of the Shockmaster, who had done apparently quite a bit of changing to his gear and gimmick since his beginning or reveal on the Clash of Champions.
We'll have plenty of time to talk about all of that. We won't skip over that little moment at the Clash of Champions.
Of course not. So that's where we're going next week. As far as the show, I guess we should let you know. You should follow us on Twitter at GrappleCast, where you can get all kinds of pictures, jokes, wrestling news, all kinds of that stuff. Also, if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at Deadpool1205.
And you can find me, Tony G, at BeyondSanity19.
And I guess we'll wait and see you next week with Fall Brawl.
See you then.
Thank you for listening to the Golden Age of Grappling podcast. If you feel the need to contact us with complaints or praise, send us an email at goldenagegrappling@gmail.com. The music used in this episode is by the Porno Stuntman and was used with permission. They can be found by following the link in the show notes on our website.
For any and all links to our various internet channels and those show notes previously mentioned, visit us at goldenagepodcast.com. And don't forget to follow the show on Twitter at Grapplecast.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
That's right, Hulk. You can listen to the Golden Age of Grappling podcast any day of the week, but if you're looking for new episodes, you can check out our website, goldenagepodcast.com, or look for us on iTunes. New episodes releasing every Sunday night.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday comes again.